Hello, what? Sorry about the delay, Jonesy. Noticed the comment about the buses. Thank you. Thank you, Jerry, John, Lev, and brother Andy. He's on the other end of this telephone, I believe so. And 6th of May, 10 to 9, 2019. How do, Andy?
Good evening, fellow brethren, one and all. Blessed be peace and love.
I'm going to retire to the kitchen. I'll bring my other phone so I can see the screen. Can you see the screen, Andy? All right, that's I'll accompany until Kev comes in. He can back up. He's getting good at it now. That's if he does. We also chatted to him earlier. He's all very well and good. I told you about talking to me when I'm on tube. Just you wait. Bless her. The guinea pig politics. We don't need to know. He's good. Josh is good. Andy's here. I am here. G-Star is good. I had a chat with him briefly. He's been off to see Famaland, so I'll let you know how the room is once this one comes online. And we're off. This is it. Glad to have you back, Andy, for a bit.
Yes, thank you, brother. It's been a little while out, having a little break and feet up, as it were, mate. Man's getting on a bit. It's time to take a break. Seeking that which I seek. I've got the time to do it now. Currently self-unemployed, so all is well.
Seeking. King and a sea and a king. Oh, look, see, we've only just started and here we're off. Sea king. It wasn't planned. I didn't know he was going to say that, but I'm into my seas and I'm seeing a lot of kings. We are seeking redress, remedy, many things. So thank you. I'll take that and make a note of the sea king.
No problem, brother. Seek and ye shall find. And as the king of the seas and the king of the realm, as we are, that's how we're to go forth. I'm not a pirate of the sea nor of the land. We come with clean hands.
No, you're not going out.
You're not going out, Kev. Tell them, mate.
I can't go out. Everybody knows. Hello, everybody.
Is the back gate locked? Don't let him out, will you?
Yeah, back gate's locked.
I've got an escapee.
Brilliant.
Evening, mate.
Hello, Andy. How you doing? All right, Dave. Evening, everybody. Good to be here. Sorry I'm a bit late. Story of my life.
You're not late. It's all good. So I was late. I got accused of running buses like Blakey by brother Jonesy. It's all good. We're here. We made it. Thank you.
No worries.
For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When any one heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart, which is the way which it receiveth seed by the wayside. But he that receiveth the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. How's that for you?
Well, it made Dave leave. I'm a bit concerned.
Yeah, it's blowing him over, mate. We've left. He's left us on his own channel again. We're here to beat the drum alone, are we?
Oh, he's back again. He's just playing games with us.
Back in
I missed that. Sorry, Andy.
It's all good, brother.
I missed it.
But he that received seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Another parable
Are you
put he
reading?
forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. There you go. Everything is with him, brother.
We need good seed. Good seed's important. Now, you know, you're sowing a field with bad seed. Been there before. Can't put it into words.
I got some good seed.
Stop it.
I meant the ones that go in the ground, by the way.
Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat unto my barn. See, sorting the wheat from the chaff. It's even in the book. It's lovely, isn't it?
Oh, yes. That is lovely. Poetry in motion.
What is, dear brother? What is? Have you got anything to say?
That's right.
How we going on? I don't want to go on all night with this book. I could sit here and read the whole thing front to back, couldn't I? So, and then back to front again and give my perception. So, is there any topics tonight? I'm not sure what the protocol was, or you think, Dave, to be sure. It's all a bit late for me.
So casual, just a chat. We'll see what the room's saying, what the scribes are saying. No, you've given us an excellent grounding, is what I said earlier. And I mentioned about the seas being parted. You've had a profound effect on many man's mind, position, predisposition, self-esteem, righteousness, honorability, clean hands. Many things come into play. It seems we've lost our way. Not only have we lost our identity, our language, many things. We can go on about legal and lawful and trusts and X, Y, and Z and constructed and impugned and certain things, and it doesn't matter. It's all relevant. And no, I don't want you to think that's about what. No, don't be having that. But
I'm going to read this from Matthew. All these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables. And without a parable spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Jesus sent the multitude away, and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. What are you saying? The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned into the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into furnace of fire. There shall be waiting and gnashing of teeth. You got to love it, ain't you?
Gnashing of teeth. Kev, are you there?
I am, I think.
Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, to let him hear. Oh, it's beautiful. I tell you something, when I read this book, mate, it gives me goose pimples, I tell thee.
It's quite prolific. Yes, we got a story I was accidentally found about gods and alleged gods of Egypt, Kem, Sept, and Thoth, Anubis, and Osiris, Isis. When you said earlier, what is, I don't think you heard me when it wasn't a joke. It was just my brain. What is Isis, ISIS is, and that led me to that story that I sent to Kev when I had a chat with him over the weekend, just to have a little reflect on I was quite shocked by it. I put it on the .com, and I'm not going to go through it all now, but Yeah, man, there's a lot there to contrast upon and to look at. We are so tiny and insignificant in the when I look around and see and these. I have been immersed further into the KJV and scriptures. I won't lie, I can't stay away from it in certain parts. I mentioned Matthew chapters myself earlier about changing words to and from, different things, Pharisees, and certain words to, government agent and whatever. And you've got it was also about paying tribute to Caesar, Andy. It was like the man's come up and said, yeah, Jesus, is it right we pay? Sorry about the accent. I know they weren't Cockneys, far from it. But Kev, perhaps you should get no.
Yeah, I should do this.
Is it right we should be paying it? It's because of it's because of can we have some more, please, Oliver? Thinking of Fagin and that, aren't I? My subconscious going into Paul Cobbeners, of Nazareth times and so forth is going to obviously be like that. But Monty Python programming. But the point being, Andy, that I said earlier from the paragraphs of chapter verse, they asked Jesus, can they pay tribute to Caesar? And Caesar says, pass me these coins that you paying tribute with. And he had a look at the coin and he goes, well, look, there's Caesar on them. So give to Caesar. The Caesar, deceptive for one, the Caesar dangerous and choppy amongst others. So Caesar is on the coin, muttered the man from Nazareth to the common folk there, and he says, it's give that to the Caesar and give to God what is God's. And I was like, wow, okay then, this is the way we ought to be looking at it. But it doesn't keep your family safe, giving the gold away to the estate, the establishment, and so forth. That's what we are doing, and that's the problem we have at the minute. So that doesn't really fix anything, but it does tell you
man.
how.
I'll read you something from Messiah about what you are saying. And the Gentiles shall see thy righteousness, and all kings thy glory, and they shall be called by thy new name, which the mouth of the Lord shall name. Thou shalt also be a crown of glory in the hand of the Lord, and a royal diadem in the hand of thy God. Now, if you're not sure what a diadem is, diadem, it's a jeweled crown or a headband worn as a symbol of sovereignty. And it's written right here in my book. Thou shalt no more be termed forsaken, neither shalt thy land any more be termed desolate, but thou shalt be called Hephzibah, and thy land Beulah, for the Lord delighteth in thee, and thy land shall be married. So he brings you back to the land. That's where you're at there, man. The Gentiles shall see thy righteousness. What are you saying, brother?
One thing I will say is that with this God and this G, it doesn't seem that there is much stories of battle or killing or is vengeful and maybe has favourites and so forth. But these other gods that I've mentioned, these gods of Egypt or alleged gods to man, they may have been gods. There's a lot in the history of which it seems that there was some claim that there was gods on the paradigm here. Anubis, the one that weighs the hearts against a feather. September. We've talked about the equinoxes, the zodiac reflection, the time of the day, the Egyptian integration, the months, and the way that they've been moved. And August, Julius Caesar. They're quite eons apart. They're thousands of years apart, these stories. But the conceptualization of gods killing each other, Osiris, Isis, Anubis, Sept, Hermes, all kicking around. Hermes, responsible for science and maths and the atom and holding it together. Quite, to be fair, hard to conceptualize. But these lot were allegedly fighting and killing. Now, gods don't die, and I don't think they'd fight. That tells you. For others that have asked me and sent me emails, and I've replied recently, there's a lot of gods around, but this one that we speak of here seems to be the main one. This one seems to be the one that nobody messes with. There are Lucifer and Beelzebub, the names for the devil up in heaven, and then when they fall from grace and they come down, they argue questions
to me, well, even heaven, God can't be all that. You know, this isn't me like saying it, but others are saying if it was that great of a place, heaven, then why would there be a war in the first instance? He obviously didn't. And is that God the genuine? Is there not one? And I'm like, well, I don't know. So I don't have all the answers, fam. I don't know if our brother Andy or Kev do. You can ask them, and I'm going to check the room in a minute. But yeah, it confuses me. I don't fully, but what I do get is that this book, the Holy Bible, the Testament, is something unlike the Kabbalion, unlike the Torah and other books. You know, they're all got little bits of uniqueness. The Quran, I've got an English translation of that, and I'm looking, but there's too much to bring together. But it appears that the stories have sub messages in this book. This book, unlike the Kabbalion and the stories of Egypt and those gods that were killing each other, chopping each other up, having sex with others and doing what they were doing, they're quite a different vein of a story. But this story has got an amazing understory to it, like what you've said there about the seed. Brings me back to the point being the seed in the field, the seeds and the good seed, the tare. I would never have got that quite easily, Andy. So my point is that all of this literature that we read, bear in mind when it's from, who writ it, and then look for the context, the subcontext, and it's not very clear, not even for me. And I'm sorry if I don't have all the answers right now. Again, it would come down to your interpretation and also your belief. And I don't have a right to sway that. You'd format yourself, I'm afraid. Yeah. I yield.
Well, it says quite clearly here, the Lord hath sworn by his right hand and by the arm of his strength. Surely I will no more give thy corn to be meat for thine enemies, and the sons of the stranger shall not drink thy wine, for the which thou hast laboured. But they that have gathered it shall eat it, and praise the Lord, and they that have brought it together shall drink it in the courts of my holiness. In the courts of my holiness. Did you hear that?
Oh, yes, I did. I heard it. Kev, did you hear it?
I did. Very interesting. I did indeed.
Andy, we've got a question from Hogarth. Regression. Could you drop link to Andy's channel, please? I think they're asking. I think you may have already noticed. I'll let you give the news.
Yeah, the channel's gone. The channel's been taken down. It's gone overnight. There was a substantial amount of subscribers overnight, 250 something subscribers, but I had no videos on there, you see. So whatever's to be is to be, but it's gone anyway. But I should just have to create another one in due course.
Albert's in the room. He says, "Sweet that Andy's channel's back."
Is it back? Well, this is what I mean. I've not been on there to check. I've just come on to hang out tonight.
I'll tell you what. I'll have a look, but I believe Albert. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, well, and I had a look. I had a look when I was forming this hangout, and I actually checked 3 times, and it said 3 times this channel not available. So I did contact Andy and say, "Is it just me?" And he said, "No, it's gone." So
yeah, I looked earlier, and it was not there.
It wasn't. That's right. It wasn't for me neither. 3 times. Red line channel unavailable.
And it still says channel is no longer available at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard of other channels being taken as well and whatnot. So, there's
a lot out, man.
It is
out of our control.
What can one say?
Well, bastards.
Well, I am looking. There is a lot Vimeo and not just like Live Leak. So not that Live Leak is one. Daily Motion, Vimeo. There is a lot. Albert, we're going to work on with brother Albert. He's given an email. I'm going to keep G-Star in the loop, and we'll have a look at other such, different ones, independent, private, independent, whichever, or looking at developing.
I'll be completely private soon anyway. So
yeah. That's what we want. So we look at developing maybe our own private, independent one. That's what there isn't out in the form. So I had a chat with Albert how we can do promotions and use one hub and go on to up to 15 platforms and just media outlay, not private chats. And then we can do different. We have had a chat and we are looking. So if you are in that realm and also interested or have any ideas or whatever, then we could look at. Someone mentioned having a radio show. We'd like to, get regular update.
I've got the perfect face for radio, no problem.
Yeah, I was going to agree there, Andy. I was just going to say.
No problem. I'll count me in for that.
I think we could. We like to make the hangouts pay, not like monetize them with adverts, but just come on and actually do some, travel, go around, get into cities and arrange to meet some of the scribes, go look at whatever needs looking at, and these kind of things. Democracy in action. I'd like to call it democracy. It'd be similar to that, but better. Something that we'd actually do something. So it's not democracy, law in action. Yeah. Damned whichever way, but yeah, I'm just going to skim the room. Hello, Menza, to John, Jerry, see Alan. A battle goes on in the kingdom. The kingdom is within. Battle for what's just, right, and proper against fiction. Mammon, from Brother Jerry. I like that. Nothing else. That's it. It's gone quiet. We all there?
Oh, mate, waiting for you. I thought you was going through the chat room. Sorry, brother.
Yeah, that's all right. Go. Yeah, everybody's all right. Any gatherings happening this year from Alan? So, yes, we've got Josh looking out for a bit of some land and what he can get these cuttings, seeds. Well, they're all seeds. They've grown so many hundred seeds and they're ready to plant quite a lot of organic produce for this year. And I did say that if you find some land, I'd like to come down and look at options of long term. And then obviously we're looking at management of estate and claim of estate through the, divisions of our own, not, the court division, we'll call it, the High Court division and remedies. So in the meantime, not everyone's going to be doing that, and we'd like to set something up that's good for the community. So we'd look at either that land there or somewhere else. And there's he's changed around. The guy that initially had some land to offer has reneged on it, and so we've had to look somewhere else. And so we are looking to acquire and grow. So we have done an appeal for utilising anybody that's got any, common land, private land. Common land we'd use because it's common and with a right of access to it, and then private would be coming on to someone else's estate, coming into their house and sharing their house essentially, which would be the land, the asset, and looking at what we could provide and offer. If it's unused and it's quite a lot of space, a few hectares, we can get solar on, hydrogen, plants, anything. So we could get a few of these scattered around. It's soon set up, where farmers are here are not being subsidised and the land is being bought, and a lot of the agriculture. I've had a look since Josh and you lot and I have been talking about this, and the scribes and the YouTubes that have come, the channels that have presented themselves that are already on with such things as this, and it looks like we're in a bad way, farmers, land-wise, import food. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but we are heavily reliant on food from abroad, everybody. We eat too much meat, and we don't eat enough veg, and where the veg is coming from, as you see by our climate and grey fog, 60-80% of the time, we can't really grow much. So, it's interesting to see, and the farmers, they've been, I don't know how you'd put it, but due to the Lidls and Aldis and the import-export, despite what you see in there, it's pushed them out of business. There's a massive milking farm somewhere, I'm not going to promote it, but in England, and it's heavily automated, and it's got thousands of cows, and they get fed, milked, watered, and everything on a big circular automated machine, and man doesn't get involved. So, this is the way we're going. It's I don't know if it's great or not. You can comment, boys.
I don't think it's a brilliant idea, do you? taking the man out of it. All this automation, and how much care can you get from a robot?
Good for
Well,
shareholders.
I don't like how the animals are treated, full stop. So whether they're taking man out of it or whatnot, these animals aren't to be treated that way anyway. So, you know,
No.
that's where it's wrong for me.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
They do it for shareholders. The obviously machines don't take sick days. They don't need holidays. There's no pensions involved. Shareholders and corporations, like we've said with the banking system and this system we've got with these lot running it, they don't mind how they get their money as long as they get it quick, fast, cheaply, effectively, and as long as each year the profits are up. And that's how, you know, Amazon, look what they've done.
It's industrial.
Yeah.
Everything's industrialized, and the way that everything is produced in that industrial capacity, well, beggars belief, doesn't it?
Indeed, it does, brother.
I've got out of warehousing not because I can predict the future, but when I heard of Kiva Systems and Amazon getting rid of most of the humans required in some of their depots to once they'd installed Kiva and the automated picking and you know, dispatch and everything like that they have, stock management, incredible. So there's a lot happening in the auto, and what happens is they will invest that for them, but not for, you know, for the business side. Billions get invested, but for the us and safety and whatever, you know, we get an X on a motorway and a hard shoulder opened, and it's called a smart motorway. Thank you, kids behind screens putting X's up on screens that are already there with stuff you've already got. You've basically took the hard shoulder off us, made it a hazard now, because obviously, as I mentioned before, about speeding and twocking and police and, you know, breakdowns and X's forgetting to be put on there and lane wanderers, everything else. It's they keep the business going and let the man suffer. But when it comes to business, you know, it's all about the business and the shareholders, and we will pay and suffer, and so will the environment. And yeah, if it means that we get made jobless, we're living longer, and you need to get an income. And yeah, China, look what they've got, a point system. Not laughing at you, China. We love you, but that's just a joke. It really is. What do you mean you've got a point system? Well, I had to go on Facebook the other day. You know, imagine that, Kev, Andy. What had happened to us? We go to the shop and you can't buy any tobacco. Sorry, your tobacco rights have been revoked. What do you mean? Well, you slagged off B&H the other day or something.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be like.
That's happening in China now.
Yeah, I know. Terrible. This I was reading some of the figures the other day. I can't remember. There's so many 100,000 can't fly, can't do all sorts of things. It's figures are quite astounding with this, with the AI that they're employing over there, facial recognition, and what do they call it? Some sort of score system, isn't it? Watching you do everything and anything. Crazy.
It's not too bad. I can't fly. I can walk quite fast though.
You walk quite fast. I'm all right driving.
Laws of nature, I'm afraid.
That technology they've got there, though, you see, look what it's doing. It's policing, it's providing a policy, and it's giving sanctions. Why can't we have it working the other way to, you know, if it's there, then to our benefit?
Because that's not where the profit's at, mate. They're on about they need the currency, mate, don't they?
They need you to do bad things.
It shows you how China has lost its identity. And I'm not having a go again. They're our family. I'm just saying that.
You're done, mate.
Yeah, well, yeah, everything's made in now, getting out now. All my geek orders are cancelled.
You're done.
Wish boycotts David. The point is that they're very clever with technology, chips, you know, micro electronics, Sanyo, you know, the JVCs, all of the massive companies, Sony. I'm not advertising, I'm saying it's a fact, isn't it? What's come out of them lands and the alleged, 50 years that have advanced on their own, nothing to do with aliens or Roswell, or just, you know, if it is them and they've done it well, Silicon Valley, California, you know, with the microchip and the advancement. And then these guys, Japan, Hong Kong, Tokyo, China, you know, Singapore, all around them Asian continents, what they've done there with the, you know, I've never been, I'd love to go. As a child, I always envisaged going. When I've seen what they did with the toilets and what they do, sing, dance, water, B-Day, all these kind of things. And I just thought, wow, what clever systems and what great engineers. That's what I was thinking. Mindset was, and so you know, billions of people and how they manage and, you know, how it is. I'm not saying it's great and desirable, but and then they get encapsulated in the systems like that. I'm like, hang on, you've drawn, you know, the Hong Kong with its manga, Japan, should I say, with the manga and whatnot, and the fighting and the martial arts and the discipline and the, you know, the empires and all of the Confuciuses and things that have gone off for it to end up enslaved by electronic chips and tell it. I don't believe it. It's like Greece and these empires that have fallen to this club of Rome. You know, it's like it's really taking them down, but it's not having a battle with them. It's basically coming into your house in the middle of the night, stripping you of everything. You wake up and everything's changed in the morning. Yeah, it seems that way. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know when that day is when we're going to wake up and find out everything's changed. But that's you know, that's why we'd like to.
It just reminded me last week I was in chip shop hearing about microchips. And I said to him, bloody hell, is that a fish still alive? He said, no, why? I said, it's ate all the bloody chips.
Nice. Nice, Andy.
You got to keep it light-hearted, don't you, lad? Come on.
Well, I try, but I normally get told off by you.
Yeah, but you get a bit saucy with it all, don't you, on your chips?
Sort of. I just innuendo, isn't it? I can't help it. Double entendre.
Oh, Lord. That's the trouble when we have the, what do you call it? Ménage à trois.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Dave's always a receiver, though, so that's good.
Oh, Lord.
On we go. You were saying
Indigos. It's what we do. Indigos receive and transmits. It's just a starburst thing. That's all I can say.
I'm in pain.
You're a bad man.
I'm in pain. Stop it.
I laughed at that.
Hello, Moscow. Hello, Moscow. Come in, Moscow. Nanu, calling Orson. receiving the message. The beacons are on. Our hearts and minds are receiving Akashic Records, Edgar Casey. It's all out there. It's true. We download. Kev, you and I had a bit of synchronicity that was a bit freaky the other 3 weeks, a month ago, didn't we? That was a bit like, hang on a minute.
We did. I'm just trying to remember what happened then. Yes, we did. 3 weeks ago.
Oh, Lord.
3 minutes.
Yeah, definitely did. What was it again?
Yeah, I remember that.
Andy's not getting away with it. We had a bit of synchronicity with some numbers. Him and his lasses, I think it was at 1:13 a.m. and he's like, what's going on here? And it's all happening to all of us. You notice the, you know, bits and things and how, you know, how you are and how it rubs off and what becomes noticed in your time. It's very interesting.
What
very
is
interesting. Yeah, well, coincidence, isn't it? Or is it?
Maybe it's part of the plan. We just haven't read that far yet. It's all pre-programmed.
Stephen of the Drake farm says the old ones are the best. Indeed.
Wait, exactly. With me being only 28, I heard that from my grandpapa. It's all good.
Inches around the wrist. Fucking 28. Yeah, me too.
I don't know if I like the way this is going. I'm feeling slightly neglected.
You neglected. Oh dear. More love in this place for you than anyone, mate. We've been neglected.
As you rightfully said, mate, I'm only getting back what I give out, mate. And for one single individual, mate, I don't know if I give out some loving. I tell you, it takes all my energy. That's why I've had to rein it all in a little bit, mate.
Yes, starts getting wearing.
Well, I've only got so much to give, mate. I've only got one pair of hands and one pair of shoulders, you know, and I can only do so much, can't I? I'm a single dad. I've got teenage offspring dependent on me and stuff. I'm being pulled left, right, and centre, and I can only do what's right and proper by us at the moment. I've only got so much energy. You know, I have my own health ailments and stuff. I think individuals are forgetting that. They still want the full performance, and you know, it's at the end. I'm at the end of my energies. I'm being depleted, to be fair.
Yes, I'm sort of there at the moment, about to be a retreat, if you like. I've had nothing but idiots on my case. Actually, it's not really fair. They probably are idiots as well. But no, it's just unbelievable vampires around recently that, I don't know, you do stuff for them and give them everything you possibly can to help along the way, and they don't use it, and then a week later they're coming back saying, "Oh, now I've got this, that, and the other." Well, what did you do with what I gave you the other day? Oh, nothing.
Well, that's it. Yes, I have got the stories of helping them, and then they come up and say, "Well, what about this stuff here?" And I'm like, "But you've asked me my input, and now you're trying to bring me information. I don't require your information, even though it's lovely, and I'll consider looking at it. But you've asked my opinion, and we are here. I'm giving you my opinion, and you're trying to give me information. Now, which way is it? Do you want my opinion, or do you like to give me information?"
Yeah.
Now, I'm very busy. And have you had any of that, Kev?
Oh, just funny enough, for the last 2 weeks, yeah, I helped somebody out obviously they were at a desperation point for, a problem with their home, should we say. So I produced them a document, which I do believe I sent to you, Dave, and said, there you go, try that. And next morning I got phoned up, and then he's got, apparently his friend said, and cut off. Hang on, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Somebody just the bloke I was talking about just phoned me.
He's watching.
More synchronicities.
Well, he could be watching, but basically the long and the short of it is I did some stuff. He then phoned me up and said, "Well, my mate says you can't do this, that, and the other." So I think my polite reply was bollocks. And who's your mate? Why are you coming to me if you've got all these knowledgeable people around you then? And then all I've had ever since is, "Oh, look at this mortgage stuff. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that." I'm already 4 years ahead of you, mate. Fuck off.
Well, yeah,
Excuse my friend. Fuck off sending me bullshit. I ain't got fucking time to watch it. You're a cock.
Oh, right, darling, calm yourself down a little bit. Your lipstick in a minute. Lordy, lordy.
Oh, it's really come off, Andy. It's on me bloody sleeve, mate. The lipstick.
Lord.
About that. No, it just makes you laugh. Why have you come to me for help? And then you're going to go, "Oh, well, my mate says," well, go to your mate then. Don't waste my time and just give you 8 hours of nothing. And now you come to questioning me. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. Jog on.
Yeah, what happens is when you put. What happens is, to describe us, is that when you get in a position where you make yourself accessible on Facebook, emails, websites, and videos and so forth, then you get a lot of interest and activity. And the system doesn't want us. The establishments, the banks, the agents, the collections. There's at least 100 companies out there, corpses, derivatives of, that are pissed off with what we've done, that can't just come out and take us out. So they just make other ways to make it so it isn't so as much enjoyable for us to be out in the public realm, and we get genuine requests mixed up with the rubbish ones, don't we? Is what happens.
Yeah, as I say, out of the blue. I mean, I'm pretty busy. You know what I mean? All the time, and then you step out of what you're doing to give somebody, which I say it was at least 8 hours in total after phone calls and then putting this stuff together and sending it over and blah, blah, blah. And then you get questioned. Well, don't come to me then. If you've got somebody that knows better, brilliant. Go and use them. And don't send me stuff I already know.
Yeah.
I'd
just like to say that Alan Stanley's saying here, for my energy levels here, vegan diet. I'll tell you now, I'd eat a vegetarian diet. And I'm full of plenty of energy for myself and my offspring and those around me. But the selective love levels that are spread elsewhere are nearly on depleted. That's it. So it's to choose your battles and know whom to share with and what time, because it is what it is. I'm too busy for all that stuff, and I've got more of my own private stuff breaking out. It is what it is.
Well said, mate. Yeah, exactly the boat I'm now in. I'm going to be withdrawing I won't be doing anything for anybody particularly. I can talk to people, but I'm not producing any for anybody. I've got some serious personal stuff come along, and that is going to take precedent because it has to. So
Charity
will
begins
be
at home, my nan said, mate, and that's what that means. Charity begins at home. That's what it
absolutely,
all
mate.
is. Within man's home, there is many mansions. It says that in my book, and we're
Yeah,
to deal with it accordingly. And we're not to let ourselves perish at the realm of others. And they'll have to accept that and understand that that's how it must be. To love ourselves primarily before we can love anybody else.
you're right, Andy. Absolutely spot on, mate. As I say, if you're not right in yourself, then how can you be helpful? As I say, but it's just the draining and the stuff. I go out of my way, as we all have done and do, to only to the following day they've got some Superman that knows it all anyway. So off you go then. You don't come to me. It's just sickening. Just sickening. All
Yeah,
at
I
the
put out
Man's unaware of themselves. They're not aware of the ripple effect of that which they say and do. That's all. And they're operating
Yeah.
from a negative vibration, which is reactive. They are
Yeah.
reacting to every situation instead of responding adequately. And then we're at the butt of it. That's all, mate.
There's a lot of work to be doing. There's a lot of confusion out there, and I've said the same about emails and the accounts and how many coming off Facebook and the obligation and duties that we all have. And yes, I feel bad that I can't comment and get about as much as I need to. And I've said that realistically, I'm telling myself I'm 25 still, and I'm not getting old. But in the timeline, I've seen 41 anons pass now, so. I am feeling backache. I am feeling a slowdown. I may continue to be, bubbly and effervescent and passionate. This game that we're in, but it's business. It
That
was a
takes
game.
energy
It's turned
alone.
into our
That takes
business.
energy.
Yeah, that does. Yeah, trust it does, and the research and the extra stuff. What we'd like to do is open an office up, a proper office, and open up proper trusts. Like I know when I say proper trusts, you lot doing them for yourselves, and them being in the community, and it being a secondary concept to and a household name, assets, equity, trusts, constructed, impugned, implied, imputed. These are the things that we should have been, and it is tiring, yeah, and we have got to focus. And for what it's worth, I will tell you, Tube, that we have rang the Chancery offices and we've made an inquiry. For those of you that were thinking you just go down and knock 3 times and you get to see a duty judge, and perhaps you do. Maybe you go down back alleys and you find back doors, and you go down secret back doors and you're never seen again. Perhaps that's what you might be thinking. We've heard some stories, we have, and I've rang, and some others have rang the Chancery and said, how much would it be to appoint a Grand Master to come down and discuss and present and claim argumentation with regards to equitable titles, assets, money, arguments within trusts, and presentations, and £528 to make an appointment. The Chancery. And you don't just go down there and you think you're going to bring the system down, or go down there and think that you're going to get your golden ticket to your TDA account. This is a line of avenue of which I'd share with you. I'm not going to share everything, but I've initially rang up and said, so this is the place, here where you go. This is the book, the guidelines for it to govern in accordance with the CPR. You are the courts. This is where you live. These are the masters. Got the direct numbers and emails and everything. So once we're ready, we go here, we book there, and we come down. Yes. How will we be doing that? I said, well, in personam, I will be doing it. Online or by letter. I went, by letter would be more preferable for the obvious reasons. Tube, autographs, thumbs, things like that. Online, you're not going to be able to present yourself correctly, are you? So that's why I'm going to be focusing on. And when I've disappeared, this will either be because they've kept me, or will find me on the .com, and we will discuss further the adventures of I and the fam. There will be witnesses taken, and it won't be publicised, it won't be spoken about after this. But so rest assured, you need to know these fallacies about. Here's another thing: being sent some documents that allegedly I've got key information in, and obviously when I've been researching the CPR rules, it comes out that the South African and they're from the Philippines, and they're from India. So when you go searching for, this is another thing why we've got the .com, not that we've got all of it on there yet, but when you go searching on the alleged internet, the places we can go to get these documents, and you don't want to pay the Bar Society, and we don't trust them, and we don't want to do business with them, so we go elsewhere, and that's quite well and good to do. But I'm being sent documents that others are considering using, UCC CPR codes and civil procedure rule. They have it in China, Shanghai, Hong Kong. Chris Patton was the governor of Hong Kong, so we gave it back to them. The empire and the colonial was set out many places, and for a little tiny landmass, we've enslaved and encapsulated a great deal of the world. So yes, they do use CPR, and they do use, in New Zealand, so other places, not just India and where I've mentioned, sovereign nations will have, and the Asia continents will have the installation of the civil judicial system and our governance there, London's governance. But you get these documents and you think, I can put that with that, and I can do that, and I merge that. But then when you look at it as an entirety, and man starts checking it. So, it is a great time of confusion, and I see a lot of websites offering things. And when you look at it, I urge you to check every detail, and don't hang on my word, and use your due diligence there. But there is a gateway and a pathway for those that were willing to, take the time and patience to find it, and that aren't chasing just bars of gold and such things as. Then I believe that you'll find your way if you catch my drift.
Got the full wave, David. I don't know about drift.
Tsunami. Well, it's going to get worse. There's going to be more automation. There's going to be more austerity. There's going to be more chips. There's going to be more Wi-Fi. There's going to be more humanism, gender fluidity, less unstable markets, crashing of currencies, mortgages, and this game. If we don't blow the shit out of it, then it's only going to keep going up and up and up, and they'll find another way. So we go digital and we're poorer, or we find our true identity, and we're heirs to the throne as such, estate and righteousness, and prove that when you make a claim in a court, you've got to be able to prove it. You are the claimant. You're not the plaintiff or the defendant there, or the in these cases of which we've discussed majorly before. We very rarely put ourselves in the position of the ones bringing the claim, and what you would be claiming, what language you would be speaking, how you would be doing that, and how you go about doing that. I just want to let you know that I did look at going down with a group of men. We chatted about knocking doors, just turning up. Others mentioned, I don't know if you remember, Andy, but I was there with you at a time with somebody that I won't mention now in a private setting, and they said you go down a back alley and you find a door, right? This is no shit, Sherlock. I don't know if man remembers this, but the other guy said you find a door and you go in it and it's full of mirrors. I'm like, shut up. This is like some Sweeney Todd meets Bruce Lee motherfucking acid shit that I've never heard of. The fuck is this? Going down London, finding side alleys, going indoors by these courtrooms, and then finding a room full of mirrors. And no, shut up. I don't like the sound of that. I think we're not coming out of there, Andy. What are you saying? Do you remember this?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, each to their own, lad. Each to their own, isn't it? But you go online onto DuckDuckGo, you put in Chancery Guide as a clue. There you go, and you'll find that the update revisions of April 2019 of the Chancery Guide. It's about 300 and something pages long, and that's your civil high court system, all your masters, direct numbers, telephone. Listen, we took a long time to find all this. It's not getting you to where you want to be, but that's your guideline there for your higher courts, your appellant and your family and everything, what they do. And we will, put stuff on the .com for you to know you're on the right lines, but we can't tell you absolutely everything because we don't know and we haven't done it. Much like some of the technologies that we found and bring to you, we will say if we've used it, had remedy from it, if it's worked, the language, status, standing, new positions, capacity, removing of, and using in. So we can, but not everything, and we're not obliged to either. Like these lads are saying, their brother's tired, private, personal stuff going on. We feel the obligation and the burden, which is why we have the .com and the video catalogue for you to go through. But just be careful, and I'll take a breath.
Well,
have a look at room.
chapter 24, Matthew. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, And his disciples came unto him, for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us when ye shall these things be, and what shall these things be sign of coming, and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumours of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. What does that say to you? Where are we at right now?
Den of iniquity.
Many deceivers. Well, that could be our politicians. That could be so many things. Banks, courts, police. Goodness, it's all there.
But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world, for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Boom, it's written here. For this is the answer to the legal realm right here. Man just has to understand it and stand on it once it's been announced.
We are.
It will deliver you. You will have deliverance from all iniquities. You shall not never transgress again to the side of the Canaan.
Regulators. I come across that word, regulator. We are regulating the business of man's business here. Man's rights shouldn't be business. You shouldn't be trading souls with certificates and bonds. You know, here's an example. Whenever you, I want to talk about the Glosser channel. Remind me, boys, the Glosser channel's released some videos of the weekend, and interesting. But again, we've listened to them. Certificate of extract, creditor certificate, aka certificate of extract. There you go, Glosser channel followers. I kind of help bring you the Glosser channel and Romley Stewart, but I want to come back to that later on if we can talk about that bit. But Kev, you got anything you want to put in there?
No. No.
About what
I'm
Andy
just
said.
listening to what Andy said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot the line. It's been so long. What Andy said.
We have transgressed. Yeah, we definitely transgressed, and there's a lot of
And when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand. Go and get yourself a book, everybody. 1611 KJV. That's all I can say. I can't emphasize anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in the public emphasizing it anymore. Please take my word. That's all I can say.
Your word is your bond.
Yeah, it's not like you covered it before, Andy, is it?
Say what, sorry?
I said it's not like you haven't covered all this before many a times, is it?
Well, I've been at it since 2015 when Dave brought me into the public. I discovered this book long ago and sought remedy from it long ago. And you know what? I try not to come across as a religious freak or nut or anything like that. But if you are seeking solace, it is here written for you. Simple as that. Scripted for man.
Yeah.
Well, it comes into the natural laws. This is where we can't help but go on a bit on a tangent, because as we've found out through our own research, due diligence and discovery, amongst other things, that's just three of the main ones, we've found out that this show, this realm, seems to have a lot more to it. Um, like I say, the natural aspect of it, and then the divine, and then the persons and the respect of persons, and the bankers and the money and the energy and the currency and the, and then the media and the music, we've all seen and I've pointed out and helped point out the direction it's wanting us to go, our energy, our ebb and flow, and they know. They know the rules to the game. They know what's what, and they know. The thing is, they know if they give us a choice, then their hands are clean. And we've always got a choice, but the choice is seldom. Bit like him, Brown, Darren of the Brown clan. That clan there, the Brown clan. Watch them out. We had a Brown in the prime minister position, didn't we? As well, he didn't do much good, but yeah, Darren Brown style. It makes you look like you've got a selection when really you have no selection. The choice is predetermined, and they've done that with the programming. So you don't see the choice, or you're not aware there is a choice, or there is a choice, but it's so heavily disguised. It's almost like if any of you have had the luxury of going abroad and driving or traveling in a vehicle or iron horse that is that continent's opposite side. Your programming tells you to go for the gear stick with your left hand, but the gear stick's not there. After 3 days, you suddenly realise with your right hand, oh, hey, look, my right hand's going there now. It's learned after 72 hours. The programming is very hard to break. The simplistic. You're in that iron horse 4 hours a day for 3 days, and on the 12th hour, you realise your brain 12 hours just to one thing to tell your hand that's me. Maybe I'm slow, but you'll get the point when you have to swap over something, and you're not used to it. It takes longer, and you are programmed, and you'll see them when you're forced to do something the opposite way. It's only when you force yourself to do it, and sometimes the system will force you to do something, and that will be give up your goods. And if you think you have goods and you give them up, then that's what I mean. You've got a choice there. You could say they're not goods. This is my private property. I've got bills of sale and X, Y, and Z. If you don't know to say that, then I'm sorry, but if you think you're deemed guilty and you deem, and these things here, it's very deep and very well connected. The laws is what I was on about, the natural laws of your conscience and vibration. So what they prey on ultimately, and it's important. They are fixed, and they are the Hermetic principles, I am pleased to say, and I don't fully understand them or command them, but they are there. Andy is aware, Kev is aware. You call them what you want, but I'm not telling you what to believe, but you go and have a look and then argue with me if you can think of something else that it may be. But the laws of man, I mentioned about, and here's the end. I mentioned about the substantive law, didn't I? I mentioned about procedural law. I mentioned about public. I mentioned about private, and the examples of your public, constitutional, and your public crime, your administrative, your international, public international, obviously, and your public tax laws. And then when your private laws come into effect, your trusts and agreements and contracts and all that law, tort law. You need to look at torts and what torts are, the tort division. I've put links on the .com. I found another type, SPLS Pro type website that's called tort division. Status law, property law, because that's your family, your children, your offspring, your assets. Private international law, it's classed as a game, but if you think your life's a game, then so be it. I don't think your life's a game. I think they're very precious, wonderful gifts in the present for us to utilize, and if you think you're isolated, alone, and a victim, then it's that's where we need to get you to get out of. I yield.
And it came to pass that as Jesus sat at meat in his house, many publicans and sinners sat also together with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many, and they followed him. And when the scribes and Pharisees saw him eat with the publicans and the sinners, they said unto his disciples, How is it that he eateth and drinketh with publicans and sinners? When Jesus heard it, he saith unto them, They that are whole have no need of the physician, but they that are sick. I come not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. How beautiful is that?
Yeah, that's what we're going from, sinners to repenters. Yeah, that's time for everybody. Probation is closing. The time for probation.
The scribes and the Pharisees. It's lovely, ain't it?
Oh wow, yeah, and the agents and yeah, it's. I didn't plan for this. I didn't intend on coming here. It's quite a surprise and a shock to me, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Pharisee.
And no man putteth
Yeah.
new wine into old bottles, else the new wine doth burst the bottles, and the wine is spilled, and the bottles will be marred, but new wine must be put into new bottles. That's where you're at right there.
Wine and bottles, blood, vessels, vassals. Yeah, that's that saying there. Information. You see, that's what I mean with these stories. With some of them, I've come accustomed to, like the Battle of Gilgamesh. Wow, epic! You know, literally epic. Sorry to use that word. I haven't got it out my vocabulary, but there's no mistaking what's going off. But with these ones, sometimes I'm sat there and I think, oh yeah, and then a bit later, a little voice goes, "You missed it," and I'm like, "Missed what?" I know I sound crazy, but it's true. And you're like, "What?" And it will come back and it will say something, and you'll be like, "But what?" And then you'll be thinking, and you think, "Well, that voice knows. I'm the one that's slow. The voice is the fast one." So I'll sit there and I'll ponder, and then it will come again, and you'll see another bit in it, or a different, implication, or a different scenario. And then you'll be like, so eyes to see, yes, and ears to hear, interpretation. And you can say you see something one way and read it somebody, but they may not. That's where the solicitors come in, and they go, we can sort this out, don't worry, okay, you have him, he has me, we'll sort this out for you, we'll rinse you blind. That's what we're trying to stop happening. The language of science and maths is universal. I can send an Italian, a code in scientific language, which would be universal. The periodic table doesn't change, elements don't change, and all these reactions and molecular structures are universal. So when you write, a code in science and you send it around the world, they don't have the need to translate and get confused and did David mean this much of the iodine and so much of the magnesium and this much temp? No, I've put down what I meant, and anybody in any language can understand it. But with law and religion, you see, Pope Francis had a meeting not so long ago, just a few months ago, the first one ever, to talk to them all. When I say them all of the fish heads and the Club of Rome got together, and he says, "Now then, it's too much paedophilic shit in the papers. I'm not having it. What's going on?" This is paraphrased. I'm not quoting Francis de Assisi. Don't hold me to this. There's no liability. But in a paraphrased way, he says, "So what's going down?" I told him, and he says, "But even though in India it may well be you can have sex with a 12-year-old, but God said, and God's laws are universal." So Francis is allegedly, I'm going to go into it all now, but you see, there's no miscommunication there, because he said this is what God's rules are, and they're universal. Never mind India and such has got sexual rules of 10, 8, 12, whatever it is. It's not cracked on with a big man. That's who you've made your agreement with, not the constitution of. And so that's why I was like, okay then. So you seem to be doing a bit of good there. But you see, this confusion and interpretation leads to... It's not laughing at that. I'm just disgusted by it. I can't do anything. I cry if I don't laugh.
That's the problem, mate. Got to you keep laughing. Exactly what I do. Otherwise, I'd just be a pool of tears.
House of God had that meeting not so long ago. You search for it, you'll find it. Francis Howden. I put it on the front page of the .com. I was just like, wow, I can't believe, when I posted that, I thought we may as well just give up. If the House of the Vatican is calling a meeting, we'll call them clergymen, fish heads, Club of Rome, telling them to stop having sex with children. That's not just all he was calling them there for, but it's this, we wouldn't tolerate this. If then your children will be next. It's it's there. It's the world we're in, and it's because they're high powered and they've got these big churches and cathedrals. It's like nobody can can say, oh, you know, we haven't got a right where you can leave the church, yes, but you can't take the money and gold off them. You can't change international law as well. We can actually, yeah. So that's what we get told. You see, oh, we can't do anything. Well, we the people have turned into we the men. We the men have found our voice and our identity. And when you've done that and you've been on that journey, you need to recognize what you've done. You've done more than somebody that, you know, at a bar, London Temple graduate for barrister. They don't have this knowledge. Not a lot of mans out there do possess this, what you have and what we've talked about. And we've done what we need to, and we've got clean hands, haven't we, brothers? Indeed,
Mate,
we have.
Indeed.
I always put my substance over my formal. I only ever speak of that which I've done. I can't speak for anybody else. And that's why it's resonant with others, because it's from my heart. It's my truth, nobody else's.
Absolutely, mate.
The council man's getting a bonus of 250 grand. I'm seeing directors and chief executive officers, directors, film directors on 250 grand. I know local council chiefs, chief of staff. Here's something weird for you, fam. This is just before I'm going to bed the other night. Chief of staff. It bothers me, that terminology. It really does. And as I was going to bed, closing my eyes, I seen a little shepherd man appear. And he had a little crooked stick, and I was like, "What's this, Hollywood?" And playing catchphrase with the consciousness, the thought potentiality consciousness. And I've got Mr. Chips here, and that's what Roy Castle, is it? No, Roy. What's he? Kev? What's his name? Roy Walker. Oh, you're close, Steve, but you're not right. Little Irish accent. Shit, you not. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm trying to get to sleep. Yeah, it's close, but it's not right. And I'm like, what's this, chief of staff? And I'm like, chief of staff. Words popped up above his head in neon letters. Chief of staff. I got a booster from Mr. Chips and the consciousness. I'm like, oh, the chief of staff is a village man with some wood, an old elder with some wood. Think of that and put, you know, that's a meme for you. Chief of staff. The village elder that had audition and the medical knowledge and his old wooden stick. And I'm like, okay then, so I'm going to mention that to the family. If you like me get random things like this happening, I'd like to have a whole hangout about it, because it pisses me off and it's weird, but there you go. How you see and interpret things and how they do it, it's there is a key and there's a system. I'm going to be focusing the next 10 years on cracking this open, so our offspring will never ever have to go through the mind field of fuckery that we've had to go through. Yeah, that's for sure.
I was just in the room, just having a look in room, and Clint's put a comment in here about WCA assessments in a job centre. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's plenty you could do. Well, you need to get some information. You know, Job Centre Plus is actually a dissolved company, so how you're going there, I don't know. But if you're going to assessments, then I think you ought to be asking questions. But if you've got enough time between your assessment appointment, you really need about at least 14 days, 12 days, and then you conditionally accept and ask some questions about them. Yes, there's plenty you can do. Say if it's late that you know and you're going to have to attend, then there's some questions, simple questions you can ask without refusing anything. They won't like it, but you know, if you've previously been assessed by, say, somebody of consultant level, etc., then that person that's assessing you in that room must be at that consultant level or above, cannot be below. So you just ask some simple questions before you do anything. If you have to attend because you've left it too late, that's the thing. Just trying to keep it succinct, but there's lots you can do. But it depends on how much time you've got between now and your appointment, basically. And a lot of people leave it too late. But you can do things if you have to attend. My personal advice would be write to them in plenty of time, conditionally accept, and do not attend until they've responded. But as I say, that's a process. Really needs 10 days just to keep clean hands, to be honest. But yeah, there you go, Clint.
Well, respect. Yeah, well captured. I've got one for you. Thank you, Kev. Roger, we'll call him Roger. He was on the Facebook family. I think I don't know if you met Roger. I don't know if you come down to the seminar, but he's been to his assessment. He's been assessed. He has an association with the spirits and alcohol. So
Okay.
he's got an affliction that he's trying to beat there. He likes a little drink of the grape juice
Yeah.
and etc. So he's been assessed and deemed fit
Good
for
luck with
work.
that, bro.
Yeah, no, he's got other issues, but I won't share them with the tuber right now. And he's been deemed fit for work, and so he's gone through his mandatory reconsideration. He's ended up at a tribunal. He's attended the tribunal, and he's posed the question: is it just right and proper, Andy? He said in the tribunal. His language was: is it just right and proper for you to deem me fit and ensure me and legally deem me safety under the health and safety guidelines and the stuff that is picked up from our chats, videos, and Facebook languages? You know how we are. And he says, and I wouldn't say that I'm safe to travel, to be transported, or if I'm having a drink, then I'm going to be likely to fall off the bus. And if I'm not being supported in the community, I'm not on any schemes. My doctor says that I'm fine. Nobody's assisting me. I'm not being monitored or regulated. And you're saying that I can just like perhaps drink half a bottle of whiskey one night and get on the bus and go to work. Okay, then I'd like to know who's saying that, please. When he asked them for that and for them to put their bollocks on the line and say, who has signed this man off knowing he's a raging alcoholic? I'm sorry to be paraphrasing you, but I know you can take it. We're all, men here, women, grown. We're all mature enough to take it. Who has said that this raving alcoholic is basically is what he's telling them in legal language, in their bullshit terms. Club of Rome. Who's put this raging alcoholic fit for work and said he can be going, because somebody's going, he's asking the question, how is this alcoholic doing our job better than us? Is what they're furious on many levels. So they just ended up saying, Rog, carry on. We'll be in touch. You can continue. You're clearly not fit for work. We've made a mistake, and it's taken somebody of a lower, and Roger doesn't want me saying this because I love him and I'm here to support him. But at the minute he's down. He hasn't got the mental capacity to fight. He hasn't got the physical strength to fight. He went to the government to ask for some fucking help, and they said, "Well, okay, we'll help you for the first 4 weeks, and then after the first 4 weeks, week 4.5, you're going to have to spin around 3 times, ring this number, click your heels, and if you haven't done that within 72 seconds of first initiating, and it's like, what? Are you for real?" The things that they say, did you do that? Have you been there? You've missed that. You've come here late, or you've not done. It's not about what we can do for the system, but it is because of the way that we've signed up with the liability and the deception. But when man is physically suffering torts, there's the word again, the torts, and the tort division of the Club of Rome is inflicting the torts. That's how it's killing us. And because we can't stand up and mitigate before they get litigated and kicked off and deemed fit for work because of X, Y, and this is where Kev comes in, where he's a bit more, cleverer with the system's rules and the languages and the obligations. But it's not just a department for work and pensions that's a department, fam. The whole of the government of the United Kingdom is a department. It's all a business. They're all offices regulated and monitored under United Kingdom contract law, and the government deals with private companies that work in the public sector. This is where it gets confusing. Go on, boys. Go on, help me out. Fuckery.
Can I just say one thing quickly to Clint? Listen, mate, get in contact either through SPLs. I must get my email sorted out this week, but you can do Kevin at splspro.com. Yeah, we can have a chat. I'll give you some pointers, but if when this appointment arrives, that would be the perfect time. Contact me immediately. But I could give you stuff in advance, mate.
There are some good notes on Kevin's forum on the .com, and if he's not there, we can look at emailing initially. But we do need experts. Here's something to put out there. Then we do need emissaries, regulators, anybody to step up that's got the time for one, the knowledge and the ability to help do this. We need to install, not just, we can start with a .com as a focal point that everyone can get to, and YouTube videos. You know, if you want to document your YouTube videos, or send us it and we can document it and put it out there for you, so then we can get this done. And once it's done, until they change the statutory codes and stuff, it will work. So we know we're working. It's just that we need now to get the support out there, like the Benicia has done with the video of the great mortgage swindle. We're going to have to start doing between us, not have to, but then it will take the strain off, you know, and it can be put on tube. But I'm reluctant about tube for various reasons, and yeah,
we'll get some stuff on. Maybe we could put some videos on the .com of a bit more explanatory and obviously updated. I can show documents and what's blah blah blah, and this is what you could use now, and maybe just help people along so that there it is again, because even the broadcasts we've done on it, it's some people are still confused if they use the conditional acceptance process. There's been a lot of mistakes made, and they only had to ask, simple silly things. So I mean, Graham and I have been talking about doing a color coded version, so it would be applicable to all. You might have a certain color for a certain assessment company, so whatever the company is, you'd lift the colors you didn't need out, but showing them the proper sign off, etc., etc. I just think it just needs a little bit more explaining to some. Others just get it, no problem. But yeah, I think it could do with a bit of clarification for some.
Deception. We're going to go into the next level of the publications to the masters, because that's what you are, masters. Andy, we are masters. We're capable of mastery. May not be capable of speaking correctly, presenting correctly, and many things, but what we are capable of is mastery of our own selves and affairs and persons and claims and so forth now. But others need that. So we'll go with the key competence that we've given out, which is the key information that you need to try and help keep your ass out of interfacing and so forth, and accepting the liability. And the next stage is the actual public to private, and what it is and where it is and how it is, and that will help. But we should have had this from educational, at school we'd call it academies, trusts. We should have had this the government should have been honest, and the IMF and everyone, the banks and churches. There's a lot of work gone into this, a hell of a lot.
If everyone had been honest, we wouldn't have a bank.
Exactly, yeah.
Lord. Right, boys, it's been emotional. I've hit the buffers. It's late. I'm going to call it an evening for me and take this opportunity to say thank you, one and all. It's been peaceful, emotional, touching, and all the things that it always is. So, to the chat room, thank you. To you guys, thank you. Peace and love all. And I'm going to call it an evening. I'm exhausted. So,
cheers, Andy.
Right, thank you, everybody. Bonjour, all. Thank you. We'll catch up back office tomorrow. Okay, mate.
Yes, brother. Nice one. All right, I'll be there.
All right, mate. Peace and love, everybody else. Thank you. Bonjour, all.
Cheers, Andy, mate. I'm just going to, Jerry, thanks, mate. That's a nice comment. That's my downfall, Jerry. I can't help myself. But there's a difference between, I don't mind speaking to people and giving them some thoughts, maybe some direction, etc., etc. That's not a problem. But the producing stuff for people is where I'm struggling. Well, I'm removing myself from, but honestly, I can't help myself. I am drawn to help people in distress. I cannot control it. That's the truth. As much as I put my foot down, I'm right, I can't do this, and the missus is saying you're making yourself ill, and I know I'm making myself ill. I just cannot help myself. I quite like that about myself, but he's not doing me any favours. But Jerry,
chat's time.
Yeah, nice comment, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's we need to get this. You are a lovely man and a living legend. And chats. Yeah, I know you have 3-hour chats though when you got shit to do, Kev. So this is the thing. Yeah, management time.
As I say, at the moment, of course, I've got some personal stuff come up on a sort of quite relatively major, and I can't, I've got to deal with that, and I've got no choice. So I'm going to be not restricted as such, but I'm going to be busy enough. So as I say, it's one thing speaking to people or giving them a few pointers or getting another look at this, that, and the other. Nothing drastic. That's one thing. That can be done, but producing stuff for people, and as I say, unfortunately, a lot of this stuff that I get involved in, everything's unique. So I'm not doing the same thing twice, and that's quite draining. You've got to approach things from different angles and blah blah blah. I won't bore you all with it, but as I say, it's a real strain. But now I've got to do that for myself until I'm sorted. So
yeah, focus. We'll use the .com and the YouTube videos to outline some simple 2.88 mile mushroom. See my video from today and the presentation there. You will be getting further from that. It's saying it'll be easier to understand. So I don't really understand anything you guys say. It'd be really useful if someone made some infant grade videos to explain the basis for folks like me. I've been chatting with G-Star about 5-minute, 7-minute videos, bite-sized chunks. So that's exactly where we will be going. But I need to focus today's video with the C's. I think it was C's. I can't remember what I called it now, but this morning's video, mushroom, if you check that out and see there, I forget what I did, link a C in with it, but I'm tired now, I forget. In the future, we will help with the outline of the procedure. So if Jerry's got something which can easily be fixed by a conversation or some reassurance or whatever, then we need to record this. And then Jerry emails me, I think, as well. So we've got a good supportive family what gives back, and we'll feed back. And then if they're on the .com, great, they can put it there. If not, I'll do it on the behalf of, and we'll keep the continuity so we all end up getting to the same place eventually, and there'll be somewhere to pick up the information. So this is something that everybody, it's not coveted, it's not secret, it's just that it's technical and there's a technique. The technique is quite a lot, to be fair. It's not our fault, we didn't design it. We're just telling you that there's a way around certain bits. Now you've got an access to that money. Fundamentally, there was an agreement made where there's tax paid and NI and deductions, and then you get help via financial remedy and the state and submittance to that. Submittance applying for by submitting and signing the forms that they give you. So we agree tacitly through our acquiescence, and these aren't sovereign, self-governing, private Anglo words. These aren't our systems, these aren't our forms, these aren't our acts, statutes, rules, banks, as Andy just said then before he departed. They're not our anything. So this is why. So that's where we're at, and we've got these corporations providing for us, but they're only providing for us while they are milking us, and they milk us quite badly, where they take your rights. Now they are legally depriving you of your lawful existence. Now that's in itself, as Kev can understand, it's a bit of a perplexing situation, because how can somebody legally deny you of your lawful, unalienable, not inherent now or inalienable, actual unalienable rights, unalienable rights, however you say it. They are taking, with their legal Club of Rome bullshit, your God-given rights, and you are giving it to them. And they've created a system where they've perfected it in such a way that they have got clean hands as they take your God-given rights away legally, which is actually unlawful. And when you have the understanding and the upperstanding, the innerstanding, whatever, the teachings of their system, which is where we're at now, then you can hold them to account lawfully, and also by international, which I mentioned earlier, which is why it's key, the public and the private, because they are operating in the public as a private corporation in an agreement with the government, as a Department of Transport, as a Department of Work and Pensions, as the driver vehicle licensing agency. And all these agencies and departments are not the government, and the government doesn't exist. There is a government, but it's hidden away from you, and the real government is the one that's running the show. But but they aren't actually allowed to by law. When we say law, we mean God-given, lawful. Now, here is the position that you're at. So you go to them and you ask them. It's like if there was a crime in the street and you knew who had robbed you, could you not just go to that house and say, "Now, where's father?" And this is a Sheffield setup, obviously. Where's father? Why? Because your lad's been at shed again, and shit's gone missing, and I've got camera footage, and I know it's him. So we're gonna have to see the dad to sort this out before our kid comes round. Lock goes, and it'll be like, all right, dad's back at whatever. You see dad and go, "Nah, and your Jono's been at shed again. I've got video footage. Come round whenever you're free. We need to have a chat." Dad comes round, checks out video, sees Jono's been at shed. "Leave it with me." How much is it? 2.5 grand. All right, I'll sort that. When do you need it? As soon as you can. All right, I'll sort it. That's how it goes down. There's no need for Plessy, Smith, John recording all them insurance reports and that. You don't need to claim. But if you're going to ring the insurance and you're going to ring the police and you're going to then start signing and contracting and giving information, and what have you done? You've informed on yourself, on your private situation, to a private corporation that operates in the public but deceptively, and they operate there to help you because there's been a crime, but you can sort it out yourself. There's no rule that says you must report and get redress and remedy from the Crown State anywhere, as far as I know. Don't hold me to that, but as I've looked, there's no law that says you are lawfully, legally obliged to fill in paperwork, but there is legal things that say, parameters and things that say you must legally do this, or you may get a fine. But in the legal realm, who are they speaking to? The misters, the ones with the titles and the all caps. So you can do whatever to the estate. The straw man is different to the man, and the fact that we've got private and public means that you can format a letter, a notice, an agreement, whatever, and you can have the all caps, a trust agreement or something. Then it wouldn't just be any agreement, but you'd have the all caps in there. You'd have the lowercase name with no capitals, David ... the semicolon and Jeremita, or David House of Jeremita. You don't have to use the semicolon. You can use David House of Jeremita, executive, authorized representative. Depends what you're doing. So, but to go private, David and Jeremita. There you go. There's no semicolon. There's no comma. There's just and. So it separates them clearly. You can talk and look at this and see. So therefore, that. I forgot why I was saying that now, but that is the part of it that actually matters. That counts is the way that you look at it and the way that you see who you are and how you put these. And three. So the document itself can have the capitals, the lowercase name. We'll put David and Jeremita just to be different, or David of House Jeremita to be different again. And then you'd have that drawn out and sorted, noticed, finished, and then you'd put a thumbprint, and it might put by David. So therefore, there's an autograph and a thumbprint. It's written in blue. And it's written by hand, and it's got the all caps reference in it, and it's got the lowercase David and or House of Jeremita, all lowercase, and then it's got a thumbprint and an autograph. So there's three entities, authorities, references, statuses, IDs, whatever you want to call them. There's three there: the caps, the lowercase, and the thumbprint autograph. So there's two persons and evidence of life and essence, a man, a seal and a print and an autograph, the life, essence, and man, the lowercase name and the uppercase name. So now you've got three. So this is where the private and the public come in, because in the courts you can say, I am the man, and we are a party. Well, we are the all caps and the lowercase name. I am the public and the private at the same time. I am the principal and the debtor, so to speak. So therefore you can be that. But if you say I am the what? I am the man and I have the debtor. So then the man is the creditor because the man acts in persona, but they don't need to hear that because they give you a language of which the court understands to reflect upon the status, standing and capacity. We aren't educated in that, so we stick to the honourable speak when really there is equity hidden within the CPR merger that we never found. So it is there for us. It's just that we got, like I said, with the Indian and South African CPR mixed up in documents that are all over the internet for doing such things as last will and testaments or marriage ceremonies or prenuptial agreements, when you think you can use them in England and stand upon them, England and Wales or the United Kingdom courts, and even worse if it's England and Wales, because that's not the United Kingdom and it's more duty bound than the United Kingdom, but the UK, United Kingdom, and you use these codes and you don't understand them and you've not checked them out, then there's ones out there doing that on purpose. So we fall down and you go away and you pay and you go back and you submit. You know, it's very, very treacherous out here. And your lives are at stake. I don't mind saying. So that's why we are the way that we are. Kev?
Absolutely, mate. You're absolutely right. You know, it's none of this is easy. It's not done in 5 minutes. You know, like what did Andy say the other week? It's not a Friday afternoon thing.
No, and like the Gloucester channel kicking out stuff. Much love to Romley and Rohan and everybody else. You know, Franco Collins can't touch this. MC Hammer, you know, I ain't seen Frank falter once on anything what he said there. Some of his videos have been truly outstanding. But listen, we've promoted and I brought to you and helped big up the Gloucester, Romley, Rohan, all of this business. He come out with the creditor's certificate and the certificate of credit. Someone's asking here in the chat, what's the difference between the birth certificate and the certificate of birth? I'm not going to go into that now. If you go through the channels, you'll see we've gone into that extensively, the bondage and everything to do with. And yes, we went and we asked the main house at Liverpool and the registrar general, the military man who, you know, his offices, about this. Nothing, not a beat. No, we don't know what you're on about. We've got certificates of birth. No, we got that. No, we want a certificate created on the day of registration. Creditor certificate, for example, from Australia, from the Gloucester channel. Nobody knows Dick, nothing about it, Dickie Bird, nothing. And then we find out, well, I've got some references from TDA stuff and Heather and international bank account, CUSIP and international tax identification numbers and that. And in here, it's got a certificate of extract. We've had a chat around about and stuff and found out that due to Benicia and RT and the mortgage swindles there, that there is such things as a land registry, and the land registry is responsible for quite a bit. And also back in the day, I got directed to the land registry to get certificates of death. And now we can do DSARs and so forth. It appears that there could be the certificate down that way, you see. So the Benicias have helped us, Benicia and Odera have helped us there with a mortgage swindle, find out about DSARs and what the land registry have down in that way. And you know, it's very fraught with many minefields and traps here. But each thing revelation, you know, and each time we've waited and we've poised, we've taken information and we've all had an uproar. Oh, look at they've done it again, they've given us it. No, because Liverpool and the registrar general told that we appointed them and spoke to the relevant ones in office as high as we could get. And we asked if we could go down and make an appointment. They don't make appointments at Liverpool. Live, pool, water and life. That's the office, believe it or not, of Anglo. For those that aren't from England and Wales, you know, Anglo. Believe it or not, we have our vehicles registered at the Sea of Swans in Swansea. Yeah. If you renew your passport, it's at Freeman something in the address. I've covered this before. I shit you not. So for the birth certificates and the main court, Liverpool, Liverpool, again, weird, Swansea and Freeman for the passport. It's just, you couldn't make this up. Hello, I'm Dr. Stillwell, for real. And yes, appointments, Registrar General, certificate of extract. CQV comes into play when you are 7 years old, when the registration is become 7 years of old. You're monitoring you, aren't they? The registration, the date of birth, they've got it all. Yes, from the General Registry officer of the General Registry has reported that from the information that your mum and dad's given. So therefore, at 7, if they're going to say that you're dead and lost at sea, they pronounce you dead. So there's a certificate of death produced, one would assume, by nature of the game. And then that's where we're at. That's where we're undoing now. But as for the certificates and so forth, you're going to have to go back on the channel and chat with the scribes about that. It's they should be able to answer that. I'll look at the comment.
I'm just going to want to say a couple of things to the chat room. Cleveland Max, I have been checking the comments. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support and understand you know where I'm coming from. Energy vampires, and I just saw one. Yes, Alan Stanley. Yeah, John Harris. Did do some great work. God rest his soul. Very informative. Worth looking at. So is Guy Taylor, another RIP, fallen warrior. who's an absolute star. There's lots out there with Guy. It's probably what I would refer to as one of the pioneers of all these movements, if you like, for want of a better phrase. But yeah, great stuff out there. There is some great stuff out there, as I say, and a lot of it's, some of these people aren't with us any longer. Those two, for example. But yeah, there is some great stuff to watch out there. Just trying to.
Yeah, R.I.P. Yeah, I'm just thinking about the John Harris I was listening when I seen him cry, and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this man's got the ball. Do you know what? One thing I thought out of all the stuff that come out of his mouth when he was at that speech and he started crying, I went, like, that stopped me off, because I thought, I've cried at Hollywood films and that I shouldn't have cried at, E.T. and such things when you're younger, Watership Downs and things later on that I'm embarrassed about, but we'll move on. It's all programming, musical controls, frequencies, and yeah, I'm like, wow, that might not only that, but is it one of these events where there's loads of hard men, tattoos, weed smokers, and probably people having a drink, and you can emotionally break down and show your inner self that you're genuinely upset and disturbed by this, and that's what gets you when you're like, wow, that's raw, and only what you're saying is tangible, logical, and the fact we put up with it only disheartens me and makes me lose faith for the mankind in itself, the future of our lineage, unborn offspring. But for man to get emotional like that and to break down, I just thought, so this is the way. That's how, because I don't think a shill, a troll, a government agent, would do that.
You like that? At times I wish I could cry. I'm having real problems with that at the moment. It's not helping my head. I could do the bloody good cry, but just don't seem to be able to. Anyway, that's a slight tangent. Cleveland Max says, can I be a monk with no name? Is that fraudulent? No, you can do whatever you like, really, as long as you don't do anything. You can call yourself whatever you like, as long as you don't do anything wrong. There's nothing anybody can do about it.
This is it. There's a lot. My brain's overflowing with stuff that I've been watching recently, reading, composing, law, thingy Pazio, video 206, the Thoth one of the secret Thoth store, not secret, but recently revealed by Viper. I think that was on the Viper channel. This one that I mentioned, I watched a few days ago. It was a new video that inspired me as I was going down this angle to go public, private. The bits of Matthew and the chapters that I read out there with regards to, I think, 15 to 22 I put, but I only read 15 to 17. Then went the Pharisees and took counsel. This is from Matthew chapter 22, verse 15. Then they went to the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. 16. And they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true, and teachest the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, for thou regardest not for the person of men. And then 17, don't worry, it's the last one. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? And I need to read 18 now. But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, Why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? Show me the tribute money. And they brought unto him a penny. And they say unto them, Whose is this image and superscription? Actually says superscription. It's a massive word. And it just unique words you wouldn't think coming out the man from Nazareth's, orifice there. 21. They say unto him, Caesar's. Then saith unto them, Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's. That's the title of the video. Caesar, dangerous and deceptive. Caesar's from Rome. Caesar, the seas of Caesar. Caesar, the king of the seas, in my opinion, where it all come from, the Justinian deception. Caesar coining the coins. Pissed a lot of people off, did this man, this Roman. So Caesar and his seas and the rule of Rome and so forth and the coinage of leads me to believe, in my diligence and discovery over the last 10 years, that this man, amongst others, he's got a lot to answer for. So therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things which are God's. Now we go back to Matthew 15, just chapter 22, verse 15. Let me just replace Pharisees with government. Let me entangle him in his talk with anything you say will be used against you in the court of law. Your not your claim of right, your rights that they read you upon arrest. And number 17, tell us therefore what thou thinkest thou. Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? We'll change that tribute to taxes. So from the top 15 remix, then went the Pharisees, which would now be then went the government and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Agents reading the right. So 16, and they sent out unto him their disciples, and they sent out unto him their agents with the Herodians, saying, yeah. And then number 17, verse 17, tell us therefore what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute? Well, is it lawful to give taxes unto Caesar or not? So then Jesus perceived the wickedness, asked for the coin, it's got Caesar on it. Well, give it Caesar, it belongs to him. You belong to God. Bosh. I'm like, wow. That was taken from a video that I quoted in my video of today that I forgot, but it was when I heard that I was just falling asleep, like in one of them. I'm neither here nor there. Halfway up the hill, midnight, 1 o'clock ish. You've gone too far and you're in the YouTube zone of coma, but you're still listening on. You'd be able to hear if someone opened your front door, but you're not getting up anytime soon. The video's still playing. You should be going to bed. And I heard that bit, and I'm like, "What? Rewind selector?" And I sat bolt up like Usain, and I'm like, "I need to make notes," as you do, and not go to bed. Yeah, so it
is
just
that
happens how it happens.
you were going on about the Pharisees? Is that the far ICs, or is it the far ICs, as in ISIS?
If I say one thing, it turns out to be another, and you get someone like Josh come along and say, you've got the pH and the alpha and
Yeah.
it's just amazing. You've got the gematria in it. You can look at language and words in so many different ways. And yeah, far ICs. Yeah, you're right. PHAR for Pharisees. So it's PHARI and then SEES. Now, like trustees and mortgagees, you've got the e's there as well. So my brain says to me, amongst all that, what I've just mentioned, if that's not enough, you've got these little bits with the, the endings of words, the phonics to them, the etymology. Then you've got, is it a legalese word? What dictionary is it in? Implied meaning, definition. Holy crap. Yeah, it's a long old road. But Pharisees, well spotted. Far IC, so PHAR would be the far. Yeah, far canal, like how an Irishman says it's a long canal. It's a far canal. Yes, I is the I, yeah, as it is, and then SEES. Seas, you've got the sine waves, as Josh would be putting it there, and then the E, I forget what he sees. It says about E, ethereal or something, is it? So yeah, it's entangle him in his talk. But what a beautiful, eloquent way of putting it. Entangle. I might entangle you in your talk. It's so beautiful. I wouldn't mind if you, but if you weren't so nasty and horrible, that's what I mean. In so many ways, it's like, oh, the greatest story ever told. It's more than a story. It's the key to understanding what they wrote back then for what they're going to do in the future and how they're going to do it. In some ways, here's what we're going to do, and if you can decipher this, then we'll see you in the lodge. Or not. We'll make our own and not call it a lodge, and go a different way. Find out the brotherhood of man isn't meant to end up in a lodge. To be fair,
They did save all your kisses for me, didn't they, brother of the man? tie yellow ribbon.
secrecy is the problem.
I'm
Thank
old.
you, Kev. Yeah, it's truly remarkable. And our vibratory frequency, this 144,000, and the 10,000 sovereign, the 100th monkey principle, it's there, it's real. That girl that Lado goes on about, I forget his name now, that I mentioned, and she has a heart transplant, and every day after the transplant she has a nightmare, and after a bit they write down what it is, tell the doctors tell the police take the information, and they go and investigate, and lo and behold they catch the perpetrator of the girl who was murdered. And they only do that by the recollection of the girl who was murdered, by giving her heart to somebody else. And then obviously that woman who received, that girl who received that heart, had them subsequent nightmares to give that information from the deceased girl. Now that tells me and others that doctor, I forget his name, damn it, who was talking about this, saying that that heart wasn't full of memories. That heart wasn't, it was full of DNA, and it was full of a blood type, and that blood type matched that donor girl's, the donor, the donation, the donee, and the donator, and the donatee. And they matched, but the DNA may not. It won't have, because DNA is unique. So what they're saying is that the DNA will have merged in, but those aren't the way that the memories got to that new donatee's brain. That heart was connected to the ethereal network and the halls of a mente. And do search Lado, that's featured on the newspaper stand of They Live quite early on in the film, where he goes and hides at the stand and tries to hide his face. The sleeping prophet Edgar Casey, and look at what he's done. And those are archived, real evidential facts of what that man was doing. So that it is possible, remote viewing and so forth. So that heart downloaded from that, probably maybe that girl's spirit, that girl's energy may have sent that directly to the heart, which was connected to the donatee via the cables, and what cables, heart, bloody valves and aortas and things that you have connected up for a heart. Sorry, I'm not really in biological mode. And it then gave out, because hearts beat. Once they put it in that girl's body in the theatre, lest we not forget, it was still not beating. So they've electrically kick-started it in that girl's body, and it started beating, and it's carried on beating, and it's something weird there in itself, the way that a heart beats and what makes it beat. But it's lived healthily. It's taken to the host, the donatee, and then it's proceeded to do a job of which I can't explain to you. And there's some technological madness there, and if you think that your thoughts, right, this is why I'm telling you, oh, my thoughts and the way I think don't matter. Yes, they do, because that heart did something amazing, downloaded something and sent it to the brain through rubber pipes and blood, and something that you're all made of, that you all have. Now, you've all got your own heart. Now, your own heart is capable of turning on and doing that if needed, but your brain needs to tell it to do that. But your brain, your heart, and your gut need to align up. And there's the thing. There is the thing. Seldom do these three triangle again, heart, brain, and gut, get balanced and line up and see the same. And often do we argue with them. So good luck with that. I haven't got that balance. I'm nearly there. It's just a hard one, but it's how you eat, it's how you think, it's how you act, it's how you are, and what you read, what you watch, and fortunately, the music you listen to, and who you hang around with, and what you say, how you speak. And as I've said about being abroad and getting in an automobile, and the 3 days, I'm out there for a month, and after the 72-hour, I finally got, and I'm like, why am I a clever lad? I should be able to know. I can see it's there. Come on, I can see it. I'm going for it. My other hand moves. Why? It's insane. But I thought I'd share all that with you, and we can wrap up, Kev. I'll check the room, and if you want to get off, we'll have an early one. And happy days.
Having a flick through. I've been through most of it.
It's important we share this, and it's important, we share this. I know I go on tangents. I do try to get back to the loop, and like Andy said, we've been there. Everything's out there. You got Anonymous trying to scare the shit out of you all. I don't mind saying it. Be careful with the things that come out of YouTube, and the way that we've taught you now to things, appearances, deceptiveness. Certain things. The brain is easy to be tricked. You're all very intelligent and clever, but it doesn't matter how intelligent and clever we are. These little shizens have got such simplistic ways. They know how to in an instant, and it's our instant reactions that let us down. Taking the time to pause and to respond. Response is so much better. That's the key. Breathing and reacting. That will keep you alive. It will keep you alive longer.
Yeah. That's true enough. Steve McRae's in the house. Evening, Steve. Hope you're all right, mate. Just see him pop in there. That's right, Steve. All from the water.
The seas, indeedy. Caesar are dangerous. Caesar has got a lot to answer for. The Club of Rome, and it's seas of commerce. Yeah, the commercial seas. We're about to part the seas, Steve, and the seas are going to be parted indeed. Commercial and trade. We're going to make a pathway going straight through. We're going to take the fam to the land of milk and honey. I don't think I'm anybody from the Bible. I'm just David. David from the block, you know, a bit like, no, even less like Jenny. Jenny had a massive helping hand, to be fair. Poor little
Yeah.
Texarkana Lake
Two of
cleaning
them.
lady. But we will part this shittiness of the seas. The seas are, you know, the seas are drowning us. The seas are killing us. Caesar and the Romans, amongst others, admittedly, lots of others, families, bloodlines, talking about blood and lineages and hearts. But enough's enough. We've had enough. We've done enough. It's out there. Our hands are clean. The system will never crumble. I think it's too big and here too long. I think that you lot that are here, you lot, the fam, the tribes, the scribes of the tribes, literally, you know, a part of those numbers, if any, 144, 100th monkey, you know, we are 50% of you will be rhesus positive, so I can call you monkeys, to be fair, without insulting you. Primates, no, but monkey relations, yes. Madness. So, you know, we're getting to the point where we're going to have this information, and it will be out, like Kevin's interaction with Jerry there about certain things. We can put this down into steps, and you know, the private and the public, the understanding, the obligations. Steve, I remember you saying a long time ago, the common law of obligations. We looked into all kinds of nooks and crannies, and you know, languages and who thinks what, duty, obligation, assumption, presumption, proclamation, and declaration of the nation, the emancipation. It's incredible. It is, but it's been a good old journey, Kevin. We thankfully have made a lot of, you know, friends, family, extensions, had a couple of meetings, and you know, it's truly been. You don't know where it's going to end. You know, we never planned for this. Where does it end? Who knows?
Well, who knows? So we're still on the ride. It's great. As far as I say, I'd like to have another gathering this year if that's possible. That'd be a good laugh. So you know, that sort of thing. As I say, we are coming together. There's more people grasping it all, using it, which is great. Empowering themselves when they see the results they get.
Getting off the boats, yeah, off the sea, out of the sea, onto the land.
Yeah, Clint's just said about if he goes down the bank with a £20, 20 quid promissory note, exchange the £20. What exactly was it say on the note? Just £20 of what? Doesn't, you know, absolutely.
IOU. Yeah, you should in reality. Has nobody ever been to the bank with an IOU? Can I give you an IOU? I haven't, but there you go. You'd never get away with it, but in principle,
yeah. That's exactly. This doesn't actually say anything on the money, on the notes, on the fiat currency. £20 of what? Fresh air. That's what it really is. £20 of this paper the money's made out of.
Yeah, what was someone telling me about Scotland and money or something? What's changed when I was on about the boats, and they're no longer calling the boats ladies she, and stuff. That was on about, I can't remember now what this conversation was. I was on about sterling, backing, stamps, currency, tender. I was saying that, you know, here's one. I mean, I don't mention too often. Scottish £10, Scottish money. Legal tender currency, you know, £10 notes of Scotland, the £20 notes, etc. In Anglo United Kingdom, to be fair, to be exact, in the United Kingdom, and shopkeepers, known as proprietors, vendors, and so forth, don't have to accept Scottish money for more than the reason that it's not legal. It's legal tender, but it's not legal currency. Let me get this right. It is legal tender, but it isn't legal currency. So they don't have to accept it. It's tender and currency. The vendor accepts the tender or not, the vendor. Interesting. We started off on boats, ended up on Scottish money, tender, vendor, and if it's legal and such things as. So therefore, it's a poignant thing to rest on when you're in the public and the private, because not always can you tend, you know, certain aspects of, because like the 1882 bills of exchange, Webster, was it, of the Paul variety, when we had that chat, said that in the magistrates, they pointed out that in his defence, to the magistrate. He'd already offered remedy and exchange of services and whatnot and discharge, and the clerk had to point out to the magistrate, and we all know what magistrates are. Not very clever at all. That's not horrible. That's a fact. They're not very clever in law at all. They might think they are, but they're not. We know all of them scribes there know more than them. It's a private remedy, not for this courthouse. And right, yes. So are you going to pay this bill? And that's it. And it's like, hang on a minute, pal. That's a lawful remedy you've just had put to you. The clerk to the court, has just told you, the justice there. It's a private remedy, and it's been so you should know the law and the honour and the clean hands and the whatever, and therefore, but they don't see that, and they just carry on belligerently. So you have to know what to do to hold them, to get them to account somehow. That's what you need. Account, hold them to account for their actions, and if they're not going to help, then it's very, very interesting. So, gone on a tangent. You get the seas are getting parted. Indeed,
we like tangents.
Yes, they are. These languages and these courts are just pure business, uniform commercial codes. That's right, but they're not ours. I don't fully understand them. I haven't studied them. They're not mine. I've seen the books. We've got some publications. We know it will work and it wins. Courts, all unified commercial codes, ecclesiastical, maritime admiralty, persons, boat people. We've got all that locked down now, but it's just like, oof, it's not, even though you've got that locked down and you can see the chessboard, the pieces, the players, the moves, the positions, the possible moves, the ending and everything, it doesn't mean that you're going to win that game. No. It just means that you now know what the hell is going on. Now, in fact, sometimes I wish you didn't, Kev. I thought, when I was younger and I had trust.
I've never learned any of this. Fucking doing my head in. It's ruined my life.
Oh, Lord, it's a burden is what it is. It's a pure burden. Yeah, it can be a massive burden, to be fair.
What have I done? Just wanted to help people, ended up breaking myself mentally and physically for the rest of my days.
But the intent is there, you see, and that's it. They learn by what's the word now, interaction, and by their own in self-initiation. They learn by passively learning. So there's many advantages, to all of this, and what you've put in the forum, what we've chatted about previously on videos, and how you've put it down and how they understand that is key and integral. You can't do it all for them, and that's it. So there's a meet halfway, position, isn't there? Because everybody's based everything on trust up to this point. None of us have really gone out there and done it, reported back, recorded it, checked it out, researched the research, found out that these codes are from India, North Africa, Pakistan, Portugal, and where, these are just random countries. But I'm like, hang on a minute, you can't provide me this document and tell me that this is something you've done, because you wouldn't have put UCC code in, or not UCC, CPR code in for a United Kingdom protection notice. If you knew that what you was doing, then you would have known that you would have got the correct CPR code ruling from the United Kingdom, not from Singapore or from Shanghai or from India. Or
yeah.
Well, and then they're like, wow, I was only trying. I'm like, yeah, well, trying's good, but then know what you're doing. Don't just take stuff and believe in it. And that belief is good. It gets you so far, but the actual application of knowledge is the wisdom part, isn't it? I suppose, and picking your fights, and in some extent, a man says, oh well, we're going to do this because if I don't, I'm screwed. But if they do, and they do it wrong, they're screwed. So it's not nice to know that both ways you're screwed, and that's we want you to have a way that is if I do it this way, I'm going to consent and be screwed and accept full public liability. If I do it this way, I'll afford it to the correct ways, and I'll discharge it using whatever. And but that's not always is easier said than done.
Yeah, you're right, Steve. All the tools are there, mate. There's plenty of them in the toolbox. Use them all, much as you can. Use all the tools you can, and it will set you free.
You're
or at least
wise words.
Bloody good laugh.
Wise words. Yeah.
Upsetting people. Well said, Steve.
They don't like it. They don't like it at all. The one thing, tribes and scribes, that the system does not have an answer for is when man knows who the hell he is, who he is. He knows who he is and what you have at your disposal and what tools you have at your disposal. Language is a tool. You know, it's one of the greatest tools to man, because if we didn't have language, imagine, you know, not being able to speak. Imagine me. Wow, quietness. Yes. You know, I'd be writing a lot. I'd be doing a lot of smoke signals. I'd be doing whatever, you know, in order to keep that communication up. So it is a tool. And if you don't utilize a language and you don't know of which you speak, of what you speak, of how you speak, and how to write a letter, where to sign a letter, what is the creditor's side and what is the debtor's side, Kev? You know,
Yeah.
this isn't a test, but this kid, why, you know, did you tell you that at school, did they, bollocks?
No. I say, just get everything they taught you at school and just flip it 180 and you'll be in the right area then.
Etymology, what's that? Didn't tell me that about etymology. Didn't touch upon it, but English grammar, oh yeah, I had exams in that, you know, and what they give you.
A public school, you know, nice paid for one, they'll teach you about the Bills of Exchange Act.
Yeah, and also there are websites that you can pay. I don't know if they're good. I don't know if the wording and if it's going to be suitable for United Kingdom, because they're all .coms. But there's lots of fantastic websites popping up that are all automated now that can entertain you and your legal quandary. I've looked at probably 100 of them. I've been watching and looking at algorithms and what's going off, and if the bar are moving into digital realms or if it's private enterprise, and that's how I found out about the tort division. And then I heard it mentioned on another video. There are quite a few tort divisions, like the court division, lots of divisions of courts and divisions. Armies have divisions, again, militant positions have divisions. Generals, armies have generals, registrar general, general army. We shit you not when we say we're at war. When you need to think of your applications to said government, which are private corpses that don't have any give a shit about your best interest. They just want the money and they want the signature. You need to think about this really seriously. You are at a war. Think of Sparta, the ones that stayed and said, despite whatever, you know, Persia and the big pyramid man coming back with his whatever and his army of the undead that can't be defeated, we will put that to the test. We have our principles, we have our morals. This is Sparta. Go, flee, and tell the rest of the world what went down, you know, and down with the crown, go home, Club of Rome. And when you contract and consent and sign, you know, that's it. That's what you've done. You've contracted, you've consented, and you've signed. So there isn't anywhere else to go. I hear what you're saying. So you're forced to do it. I hear what you're saying. That's the system they've set up. Isn't it beautiful?
Amazing system they've done, isn't it? Steve's just put in there, the answer to is in the Vatican's own paperwork. Yeah, as Dave was just saying, Club of Rome, go home. And then down there again, all roads lead to.
When you find out, I will say, Steve will be able to appreciate the system, because he's got the eyes to see it from the above, the below, the in between. You know, he can see the visions of all that bond. And when I did that video this morning, I did say, Steve, that it is a fantastically intricate but simplistic design. The fact we don't know shit about it is a bit of a stinger in these public constructed statutory trusts. But other than that, when you look at it and you see that there is a remedy and we didn't get taught anything, we have to go on this wild journey of bullshit and YouTube and websites and everything like that, and countless seminars and God knows how many years and hours of our time that could have been far better spent, you know, in a wholesome, just right and proper family environment, being positive and not being a slave, confused, trying to dig your way out of this mountain of shit. But I did say that the system they've put in, once man comprehends it, it's pretty intricate and it's pretty simplistic though, and it's foolproof. The house wins 9 times out of 10. It's crazy as shit. Yeah, I'll take my hat off to it. And say they moan it's the government's fault, but they're just doing what they're supposed to do under the ecclesiast and the bondage and the monarchy and the the government's there, the acts and the statutes and the public code. Whitehall and Westminster are there for the corpses and the citizens, which is the government, which is the private corpses. They have to regulate what these motherfuckers can do. Otherwise, they'd be out there rinsing it. Do you not think? Think about it. If we let Nestle and Cargill and Pfizer and Monsanto and all of these giant motherfuckers, you know, Walmart. We just let them have free reign, you know, no regulations, no acts, no statute, no Whitehall, no penal code, no Congress, no bills. What do you think could be going off, fam? Yeah, exactly. It'd be a free for all. So they have the regulatory set up, legal, you know, for their own. We've got roped into that. Now all we're doing is stepping out, and we say we're part in MCs of commerce and trade. Yeah, we are, because you and I aren't this. We are far greater. You know, the principle, the biblical stories and the comparisons that Andy puts in, Thoth, Hermes, Trismegistus, the Egyptians, Anunnaki, Nephilim, and Battle of Gilgamesh. These mother giants and the Anunnakis and that. It's just as far as you want to go. It's all there for the taking, and the tools are there, and the truth is there. You know, I yield, Kev. Said enough.
Really? Yeah, and Lady Katie, yeah, I was raised Catholic. Luckily, I had chemotherapy at about 12
What?
and got rid of my Catholicism. No, yeah, I know that one. I haven't done the Vatican stuff. Yeah, we've been through plenty of stuff on that and paperwork and blah, blah, blah. Sorry, just making a joke. Which was raised Catholic. So that's an interesting comment. Me too, but I got better.
Let's have a look with her.
Each to their own, though. By the way, just don't offend anybody. That maybe.
No scribe, Lady Kate. Hello, I do believe. I know my lady.
Lady Katie.
Yeah. What belongs to the Vatican belongs to the Vatican. Came on, 80. I like that. That's a reference, Michael. What we read out earlier, Caesar, the Caesar reference. Get in. Remix. Who's on the remix already? Mans are on it.
Thanks for joining us, Lady Katie. A good spirit, I can tell. Thanks, everybody, by the way, for joining us.
Amen. Yeah, just put amen. As one voice to set yourself free. Yeah, one tribe, one family.
Yeah.
We live as one family, one voice. That would be excellent, Steve. Wow. I think maybe something had happened. Maybe the clouds would open up and somebody would come down and give us a clap. At last, they've finally done it. Amazing. The earth had opened up. Something had happened, yeah. We'd be blessed forever. Heralded. I'm working my way up, Kev. Feel free to interject.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. I haven't gone back too far. To be honest, I've got two lots of same chat room, but one of them's sort of up to date and one of them's back a bit. So I'm showing off 3 bits of technology lit up tonight.
Thank you, Steve. The answer to the riddle. We got the riddler in the house here. Riddle me this. The answer to the riddle is in the Vatican's own paperwork.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes Bonds 007. McRae's in the house. Thank you, brother. Yeah, we can see that. Indeedy. You've been bonded, you know. The Vatican's own proclamations paperwork. It's the cannons, weapon. You know, they named that cannon again. Yeah, you know, fine weapon of a boat. I never paint with a wide brush. People are to be seen by their hearts.
Yeah, I like that comment.
Yeah, that's where I am. Amen from Stephanie. So why are we? Let's just acceptance letters. What we're doing here, acceptance letters for the what work-based capability assessments. Yeah.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, Kev. I'm just saying that they're doing these for what? What's that conditional acceptance?
Well, that would be for work capability assessment appointment.
Yeah, because they're not qualified to kick them off the pre-medical. What they've got a
You've already
diagnosis. They got a diagnosis from a doctor, a hospital, or somewhere other than a GP, a specialist, a consultant, and whatever registrar. And then all of a sudden, you go to these appointments, and somebody with no qualifications assesses you and says, "Now you're fit for work." Is this why we're conditionally accepting, because we don't agree that the value and the opinion and the skill set is just summarized before we
there's so much you can use here. Basically, the main thing is they're not qualified. If you're signed off work with a certificate, whether it's a long-term one or one that you're getting renewed every, I don't know, month, 3 months, 6 months, I don't know, whatever.
Or if you've got a disease, we've heard of people with diseases that have been told they can go with severe bone disease and that, haven't we? So carry on.
So there's basically your question. So if you've already got a certificate or been, you're not fit for work through one of your consultants or whatever, or several consultants, as in some people's cases, then anybody that assesses you has to be at that consultant or those consultants' level or above. You can't be assessed by somebody of a lesser standing, and these people have got no standing. They're not registered. Most of them, you're like, "Oh yeah, I was in nursing for 3 years." Well, so what? That does. You mustn't consent to this stuff, but you mustn't refuse. This is the thing. You can't go, "I'm not doing it. You're not qualified. I'm not having it," because they'll just cut you off. If you go along, and if you have to go along, you ask questions. "Oh, before we start, can I have your name? Can I have your medical qualifications? Could I have your BMA registration number?" "What do you mean you haven't got one?" "Well, anybody that assesses anybody here in England must have one." "Oh, okay." And they'll keep saying stuff to you like, "Are you happy to continue?" And they want you to say yes. As soon as you say yes, you contract. So you say, "Well, no, hang on." And you ask a couple more questions. And then you can basically say, when they ask if you're happy to continue again, you can then say, "Actually, no, I'm not happy to continue because I don't feel that you're properly qualified to assess me. But I'd be more than happy to return when somebody of the relevant qualifications is here to assess me. Thank you very much." So you're not refusing. Don't refuse. No, I'm more than happy to be assessed, but it must be by, as I say, and even if you're doctors, most sick certificates or whatever, say mine's a long term. Obviously, I started off with normal certificates, but I ended up getting a long-term one. So, this, if you've got that, they're signed by a GP. You won't get one. You won't get one of those certificates from a consultant. They're far too important to do menial shit like that. But your doctor would have signed the certificate on what he's read from your consultant. Okay, so he's basically going, "On what the consultant said, this guy ain't fit for work, I'm signing a certificate." So if you've been assessed by a consultant, so worst case, if it's your GP that said you're not fit for work, whoever assesses you must be a GP or above. Can't be Sandra off the Tilbury Tesco's who's just got a new job pressing buttons for the Department of Wanky People.
Oh wow, yeah, we get you. All right, thank you. I just wanted, for others that are concerned or wondering why we have this situation at hand, it's not that we're trying to get stuff for nothing or get out of going to work because we think we're better than slaves, we're too good to work. It's not that. I am in trade, private trade, myself, and we're not making a living off anything or trying to sponge or. No, we're just trying to exist honourably, and they're not being honourable. This system is very deceptive, and it goes, again, with its legal parameters that are quite unlawful. They're depriving man of their rights unlawfully in a legal way. Now, law trumps legal. Personam trumps persons. So this is what we're saying. Pick up the persona and drop down the person. You remember them adverts? Well, let's take the piss. Pardon me, but you get the point there. There's certain ways, there is a technology there, of which is a private remedy from the 1800s. It's been kept from us and from the darker skinned brothers. Because if the darker skinned brothers, sorry to say it, but it's fact, you know, had got hold of this technology, they'd have found out how to put their claims back in, the Moorish and so forth, and whatever else, and also how to fight the oppression when we made parks and said, sorry, you can't go in there, darker skinned man. It's only for the whites. What? Yes, I'm sorry, but this park is just for white folk. There's a black park over there. What? Yes, that's right. There was a white only areas, and this is how depraved we was. And just to think now that we've given everybody peace and love and equality is a joke. You know, it's a far, you know, they're saying the world's filling up and there's too much debt and there's not enough of this and etc. and nuclear and poisons and chemicals and, you know, Bilderbergs, Masons, Illuminati, amongst, you know, a few of them. So we have a lot to do ourselves in the realm of, you know, self-solidarity, support, understanding, you know, this system is far from the, you know, really we ought to be knuckling down, building loads of stuff for ourselves, not wasting hours and hours and, you know, videos and documents and seminars. We should have, you know, we shouldn't be here now. This is why the world's the way it is, you see. Because if we invested our true time, love, money and efforts all of these years, just here we go, since I've been on this planet, I've seen council tax invented by Maggie Thatcher. Let me just put it to my scribes and you, Kevin, to the others that understand how much council tax has been collected in total since Thatcher made it. When I watched it on the TV and seen all the riots and everything, and you did as well, Kev, I know, but it's my little point. So how much money has been taken from council tax in all that time since it opened? I want to know. And then we look at how much money's been taken. It's all been sent offshore to tax havens, you see. We have a valid fucking point of when we say 65 trillion, 800 billion, so many million has been collected by the taxpayer to the UK government since it was installed. Right, so do we see that anywhere? I'll go down the street now and show you a pothole that pisses me off with the, you know, you must pay your taxes on the vehicle there, David, by, you know, such and so. You park near double yellow. Yeah, but when I pay them, where does it go? What do? You are doing things with it that aren't doing a benefit to us. If you know, we paid these things and these fines and fees and we saw that it actually went somewhere, that would be half the problem done. But it doesn't go where it says it goes, and the council tax has not gone back to the communities. The banks that are usurping us through their usury, and the serpent rising is the kundalini. Do not be afraid of the snake and the energy and the serpent at the bottom of your spines. These little usurping nasty ones, though, they are building societies. My arse, you're taking the blood from man, charging him interest, perpetual debt, and taking the credit from his very hand, taking it, putting it back in his bank and charging him again. That's wrong. That's a crime against God. You know, they've been put about bankers and interest and everything. So the way that we allow this hieroglyphic bullshit writing. Spell your name, David. Well, we did it. We had a choice and we spelt our name, you know, and we did this and we got indoctrinated. You know, you can have homeschooling and home education. And I say there is a choice. It's not a very good choice. It's not very practical, cost money, and not many families can do it. So they've designed it to encapsulate us in there, but we glorify and give these things credence, power, and yeah, it's because of the lack of the education. I get that, and that's again, you know, full circle. But at least we're trying. At least we're trying. They're going to give them, you know, you'll never take me alive.
Yeah, Clint's just put well, it's back a little bit about the conditional acceptance. Clint, there's a process that happens, right? Here's the basics of it. You conditionally accept. We probably turn it into a DPA, GDPR subject access request as well, just to really stick it to them. So you would send conditional acceptance. Now, let's say we give them 14 days to respond. Okay, they don't respond. So you don't go to the assessment because they haven't responded. Then you'll get a form called a BF223, which says, why didn't you go? And the answer is, well, I sent this letter on so-and-so and so-and-so, and they didn't respond to me, so I didn't attend. And generally that's that, mate. As I say, in our experience with the people we've used it for, and in time and etc., have all been, as David can attest, have all been put in support groups, had letters saying no face-to-face assessments, moved up, usually got a little bit of back money, and that's that, left alone.
I've seen three or four now, yeah, that I've seen myself as well. Yeah, it's with you, so no, I haven't done it, but yeah, I can confirm, yes.
You know, there's plenty of there's people out there, as I say, and it's been downloaded a number of times. So I don't know how far it's gone, but I mean, it all depends. There's other things. It depends who's assessing you. If it's a WCA, it's probably more than likely Maximus, calling themselves Centre for Health and Disability Assessments. If it's Independent Assessment Services, that'll be Atos. They call themselves that, and the Health Assessment Advisory Service as well. Pretty sure that's Atos as well. So they call themselves different names. Or that might be Capita, actually. Anyway, and there's a lot of dealings with Capita. But, you know, it doesn't matter which entity it is. There's it's almost universal now. What we started with and what we've ended with, it's much more universal now. It just doesn't matter who they are. But we've got specific questions for Atos, and we've got specific questions for Maximus, like how come you're operating in England when you're a bankrupt American corporation? And we put the dissolved numbers and everything in and stuff like that. And yeah, they don't like it up, but there you go. But yeah, there's plenty you can do, but that's how it works. Basically, you give them time to respond. That's where your clean hands come in. You've got to give them, you give them a fair bit of time, 2 weeks, something like that, 10 days minimum, I would say. But they won't respond in time, because it takes 4 weeks for anything you send them to get on anybody's desk. That's a fact. 3 to 4 weeks. So, but that's not your concern. So it's they almost default. By default, if you like. But yeah, as I say, there's quite a few people used it. I'd say I don't know how many other people that have downloaded it may have used it, not reported back. But our experience is we've had a 100% success rate with the process to date.
Can I just say that these agents that are operating on behalf of the government, these companies, Maximus, Romus Maximus, I'll call it. You mentioned at the beginning there, stuck in my mind. Romus Maximus have got authority to go into some kind of routing, banking, international clearance, Treasury Direct type account there. Because let's face it, they're not getting the money from any foreign continent when they pay out and they award benefits. My point here, for those that are all, not for you, Kevin, not for the scribes, but for the new ones, and for the ones that are wondering what the hell, the point is, these agents have got access to these bonds and the trusts and everything, the fidelity, the capital gains, the capital name, yeah, that's a lovely capital names, Capitol Hill, capital gains of man, matured bonds that have got millions in them. And they act like it's their own freaking money, and they'll leave you to starve and rot outside Parliament on fucking spice or whatever it is now, knowing full well that you've got money, but because you can't speak, act, or identify with any, relevance, then they won't give. And it's like, that's not right. That is not right. You're telling me that these lot striking and austerity and Theresa May and Amber Rudd and Jeremy and everybody, and oh yes, even old Tommy, Knockers there's having a little pundit, and they're disbanding, and it's chaos. This is an act. It's a bloody pantomime. And it's about time that all of these actors got scooped up. I wish there was another flood coming. That flooded, didn't kill them, but just flooded them all off. And we could just go, right, quick, in, and get in. When they all come back. No, possession is 9/10 of the law. We come out with Kev's and Mar's little statements. We get you all clued up. Actually, you'll find that we're here now. And what's happening is this. We're not going to get that day. The good Lord isn't going to give us a flood. We're going to have to create that flood of letters and torrents and, compulsions. Is it compulsion? Yeah. And things. And, it's incredible that these little agents, though, let's go back to the thread. They've got access to our shit and they're denying it. They've got their hands in the cupboard. They're taking a percentage. They're not doing it for free. So they're taking a slice of your cake. They're having a cup of coffee and they're sitting down on man's table, and you're coming downstairs going, hey, what's going on here? Who are you? I'm John. I now get 20% of everything you've got. And you're like, what? Who said this? Well, you did when you signed up. Well, what did I sign? You've just got some some benefits given, aren't you? Yeah. Well, we got 20% now. Well, okay then. But if you don't listen to me, you know, it might be 30 or whatever. It might even get you sanctioned. What? It's my money though. But we've got the strings. What do you mean you've got the strings over my money? Well, you're an idiot. What do you mean I'm an idiot? Well, clearly. I'm sorry, fam, but that's what they're saying to you. And that's why they do what they do. And we're not idiots and we're not criminals. And that's the point. Enough's enough.
Let me be clear, as say, some of this stuff, I mean, you can use it in all sorts of situations. I say we've got the process for the WCA, which can be adapted to PIP, etc., etc. It's all the same. But, you know, sometimes if you've got, say, a bit of a unique situation, you can get into quite a battle here, and you must be prepared for possibly going all the way to tribunal. But you'll romp it in there. As long as you stand your ground with the agents, bastards, all of them. Everybody's an agent. That's all they are. I've got no capacity whatsoever. So you just got to stick it to them. They don't like it, and they won't like it. As I say, you know, I've been in some fights with them, and I'm sure there's more coming my way long term. But you know, that's it. You mustn't. You just got to keep at it. Because ultimately, you can't be denied, you know, at these lower tribunals and all the second tier and all that. Once you get past them, then they're starting to get into trouble. They won't want it. They won't want it coming out. It'll kill everything. I think it's a bit late, personally, but I just hope it all falls apart real soon. It's disgusting what they're doing to people, how they're treating them, and it's all fraud, and they're giving third parties.
Sorry to interrupt. Who was it that said every time somebody signs on in the United Kingdom, someone like Morgan Chase, Stanley Dean, Whitaker, Rockefeller, Sachs, Goldman gets some money from a signature? What is that? What world is that? Right? What you're telling me? We got austerity, all of these things and complexities.
Well, but we've got austerity, Dave. They haven't.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. I just thought, oh yeah. Funk Star, is that a subliminal message there in that? Keep your eyes open for MI5 agents. They'll leave you gobsmacked. Interesting.
Yeah. I didn't see that, Kev. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's far from the. I don't know. I'm rolling back on 2 bloody units. I don't know what's going on, Dave. Really. I see the odd thing, and then it takes me 5 minutes to go back and find it again. That's a fair comment there from Albert. Creation of man can never be above man. Absolutely right, mate. Spot on.
Yes, that is good. Bang on. Night. Yeah, we're going to bed. We're wrapping it up, Kev. Come on, we're dragging it. We can go on forever, me and thee.
I know, could do all night. Might be some pauses, but it'd be a laugh.
Old school ravers.
I'll get you, Funk Star. Right, well, it's all on. Well, you see anything else in there you want to wrap up on, Dave, in the comments?
No, we're all good. It's been fun. Eventful. Sorry to go on tangents, and hello to the 39. Yes, I thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
8 thumbs up. We've done all right. Yes, the masters, Kevin and Andy, have graced you, and we continue to do what we can do. Just remember, basically, all 3 of us have said we're old, we're tired, we're focusing, we're doing the best we can. We're limited in our resources. We need help. We've got ideas of grandeur. All right, we're under the covenants of the original contracts, and we haven't made this how it is. We're not happy about it, and we do the best we can. And we'll see you on the other side, hopefully. That knows where I mean.
Yeah, good night, all. Thanks for joining us. Hope you've learned a bit or got some ideas. As I say, you know, if you need anything, you know where we are. Just no paperwork.
But if we had sponsorship, when I say sponsorship, no, we don't do ships. So if we had the way and the means and the resources, and you know, access to, you know, and if we get lucky in some respects, I will provide that in ways that we've talked about previously in this video. If not, we'd have to rely on the monetary system at hand. We have a monetary system. Everybody's asking for donations. Everybody's wanting money. Everyone's got their own agenda. Nobody trusts anybody. It's so, you've set it up so good. So it is just a continuous plodding on for now. We haven't changed anything. When I say private and self-governing, that's because we need to drop the word sovereign temporarily. It's quite a unique, you know, USP, sovereign. It pricks up ears. It causes controversy. You know, and this looks like a job for me, and everybody is some, what is it, controversy? Yes, I like that. It is a job for me, and you know, the jobs are here for us to do, and we are controversial, but we try to remain in the barriers and the limits of it, and we do need help. Yeah, we do indeed. 41 myself, and getting, you know, annoyed, short-tempered, old, problems come in, but I'm grateful for my health. I'm lucky. We've got the love. We've got an excellent family. We're not moaning in any way, shape, or form. You know,
I am.
no, we're not. We're not, Kev. I know you're not. You do, but you're not. You're a good lad, and we're all good.
Can I have a bit of your health as well, please?
You know, it's there is a placebo effect. There is a nocebo effect. There was the girl with the heart from The Stranger who dreamt and gave accurate information to provide a killer. The world and the realm we live in is unlimitedness. You are unlimited. We was limited as a corporation, limited, corpse, company, limited, you know, liability, etc. But now we're unlimited, no potential, you know, that you can't get to. If you see it, it can be attained, and that's what I want to leave it with there. You and Andy are blessings in disguises, strong, clever, you know, brothers that have come out, and we'll see what happens this year. I'm hoping and seeing big things, let me tell you.
Yes, we're moving in the right direction. We're moving forward. It's all good. It's all positive, and hopefully we'll start to get some more answers, or maybe some more maps to follow. No,
Yeah.
listen, thanks everybody in the room. Great interaction, and thanks for all your comments. Lovely to have you all here. Really appreciate you joining us. Thank you. Peace and love to all brothers and sisters, comrades.
Farmerland, tribesmans, shamans. Yes, we love you. Thanks a lot. It's been enjoyable again.
Been emotional.
As always, we've waffled a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just writing a message, right? And thank you and much love to the scribes. And yes, continue the good work. Keep the vibe alive. All of it. Take it, use it, run with it. And yeah, thank you, Kev.
No worries, Dave. I'll catch up with you tomorrow, brother.
Yeah, we will do. All right. Thank you. Peace and love to all. Let's go.
Good night, all.
All right. Thank you, bro. No night.
Cheers.
Ciao. See you later, scribes. Much love. 3, 2, 1.